topics, whether conscious or cosmic. It's never nonsense, mega levels are microscopic. It's a Killer Priest project, AD control the rocket. Before we land the plane, many things we engage and explain. The unexplained, without mask. Welcome to the Killer Priest podcast. Boom, boom, boom. Killer Priest podcast. Boom, 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 boom. In tune. Boom. Light it up, light it up. It's that time of the hour. We're in the phase where it's Thursday weekend. That's what we called it today. Man, it looking kind of good up in here, AD. Word.
Had the maids come by.
Okay, all right. Yo, the air's fresh. You know what I'm saying? The air's fresh. The seems like the microphones and everything is clear. Good feng shui. Yeah. You gotta clear the air.
You can feel springtime is coming.
Yeah, I feel that outside. For real. Air conditioner is up. What up, y'all? What's up? 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 Yeah, we got to have a great show today. It's going to be powerful. Mega powerful. Last week was crazy. It was off the meat rack. Must say, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to make that announcement. Oh, man, it was crazy. Yeah, I saw the snakes. And then you had the other just come in, and it was explosion. It was just like off the charts. It was a great dialogue. It was a great build. And we're going to push it even further, man. Today, we got none other than Brother Sanchez coming to the podcast once again in return. Brother Sanchez, he's been making his way around the internet world. Y'all, everybody knows him. And he's been dropping some jewels, some real controversial jewels lately. And it's been off the hook. A lot of people like to challenge his information if you can't deal with it, but I'll let that brother explain it. I just want to say, what up to Brother Sanchez, man? Welcome to the Killer Priest podcast, my brother. Once again.
What's good? I'm glad to be back, man. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me. Salutes to the chat room. I hope everyone is open-minded. You know what I'm saying? Salutes to everybody in the building.
Right. No doubt, man. How you been?
Getting my mic squared away, kid.
Okay. Shout out to the Podcraft, everyone up there, the Rocketeers, the Craft Board. Shout out to y'all. I see you, G-Cals up in the building. Got fire. Nothing but fire for Brother Sanchez in the building. Beats.
There we go.
Where's Solar Facts at? Okay. He says, let's go. Peace, Brother Sanchez from AZ Universe 999. Okay, Jody. What up? AD, how you doing, my man?
Doing good, man. Ready to rock.
Okay. Let's just get up into it, man. What you been up to, man? Is he still, are we just still building till you come back? We're going to let you get ready for a minute till you get ready.
He's setting up a lavalier mic.
Yeah, no doubt. Shout outs to a couple of people in the crowd, man.
Can y'all hear me now? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you good.
My bad. Salutes to everybody. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you great, man.
You got two different. There we go. Now we good. Yeah. I'm ready when y'all ready. KP, I know you're still doing your intro. I just want to let you know, I can screen share the video. I can give you the link directly, which one will be ever better for you. But salute to everyone.
All right. Yeah, man.
Yeah, you can send the link.
Yeah, AD. Okay. Send the link. It's going to be dope, man. All right, so we about to go. I see y'all all getting ready, man. You got nothing but fire in the crowd, man. You got a big fan base that's out there that's rooting, man. It's like, yo, come on. That's great. All right, so without further ado, man, let's get into it. I can't wait for this brand new information, the information that you're dropping. Let's go. Let's get into it, man. What you got for us? We all ears, man.
All right, I'm gonna post before we play this link.
Okay.
I just want people to realize. Let me give them a little intro, a little bit of rundown of this video, and then you can go right into it. I put the link in the Zoom chat here. I hope AD can see it.
Yep.
So the thing about this, guys, is there's two kind of people on earth. And when I say two, I literally mean two. There are people that interpret the ancient symbolism and the ancient allegories as literal, and there are people that interpret them as non-literal. when you interpret these ancient stories and symbols as literal, then the serpent becomes this evil beast under the ground that's want to do war with everybody. But when you interpret this serpent symbol as non-literal, the ancestors said this serpent is your lower self that's beneath you, that's waging war with your higher self, is literally your ego. And that's what's waging war and manifesting evil in your life. In other words, the ancients they had a self-accountability system to where if a person was doing evil, they said, that's your lower nature out of control. You need to work on yourself. Whereas the literal interpretation says, if a person doing evil, that's the devil in you. No accountability. It's the devil in me, right? So that's why the world is so messed up. The papacy started to literally interpret this stuff. Killer Priest, let me ask you a quick question real quick.
Yeah.
Are you familiar? And I know you're going to probably, I don't know how you're going to answer, but I think I know. Are you familiar with the fact that it was our people that actually wrote the Bible?
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
You know that, right?
Yep. Who wrote the
Bible? So you ever thought about this, Killer Priest? If we wrote the Bible, how did the slave master force it on us if it's our book? Because how can you force green eggs and ham on Dr. Seuss? He wrote it. So the question is this, Killer Priest, what they forced on us was the revised literal interpretation. Because before they came over here, we weren't interpreting the Bible literally. And after they came over here, they inverted the truth by interpreting it literally. And I'll give you an example, Killer Priest.
Okay.
If we know in the Black community that the word cheese means money. So if I say, look, Killer Priest, tell my family to bring me the cheese, right? That's at my house, right? If you wanted to make that statement a lie and invert the truth, you would tell them to take it literally and they'll bring me a block of Kraft cheese. You see how when you speak in an allegory.
Yeah, go ahead. Lactose. I got you, brother.
But yeah, you know, because when you speaking in code, if someone say, well, that code is meant to be literal, all the truth just went out the door.
Right.
The truth just went. And that's what the papacy did. When they revised the Bible, they didn't tell a different story. We talked about the Christ energy or the serpent energy within people rising up where they die way before the pilgrim came. But we didn't believe in no white dude in a graven image on the cross. We believed in the chi energy within the self rising up, which is why Moses said a serpent must be uplifted, and which why Christ compared himself to the serpent. Christ is a modern papal version of the serpent. So we're going to play the video now, and at some point I'll cut back in and give more clarity on it. Thank you for that.
Okay, no doubt.
Resurrection, which is the foundation of Christianity, didn't start with Jesus. Before the church, before Rome, there was a knowledge system already in place. Jesus was not a literal historical figure, but an archetype, encoded symbol representing inner divinity and immortality. Across all ancient traditions, this truth was conveyed through the serpent, a symbol of renewal, awakening, and eternal life. The story was never meant to be worshipped outwardly, but realized inwardly. Before the Roman Empire reshaped the old world knowledge into literal belief systems that were centered on Christ, the serpent was the primary symbol of resurrection and renewal. It also represented the awakening of divine knowledge within the self. Early spiritual traditions used this symbol to convey transformation and eternal life long before doctrine replaced symbolism with literal belief. And Moses didn't destroy the serpent, he lifted it up. In other words, the serpent concept was never removed from Christianity. The serpent simply transformed to Jesus Christ over time. So why was serpent symbolism sacred long before Christ? And how were people already teaching salvation before Jesus ever walked the earth? And to answer this question, we got to start with one of the earliest symbols of Christianity before Christ, and that is the Moses serpent staff or what is called the Nehushtan. To understand the meaning of this pre-Christian symbol that was associated with Moses, we have to trace the origin of this symbol to Egypt. In the book of Acts chapter 7, verse 22, it reads, "And Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians and was mighty in words and deeds." And one of the most important things that Moses learned from the Egyptians was the knowledge of resurrection. The knowledge of resurrection was being taught all around the world, and the knowledge was very popular in Egypt. And before resurrection was represented by Jesus on the cross, it was represented by a serpent on the cross or on a tree, or either wrapped around a tree. If I were to try to tell a modern Christian that the original archetype for resurrection was Satan, they would laugh at me. But it is true. Before Jesus, early quote unquote Christians, because the word Christian wouldn't have existed yet, this was before Christ, Christians were called Gnostics. So before they were believers, they were knowers, because that's what the word Gnostic means, to know. Who turned the Christians into believers? The papacy did. And the truth is stranger than fiction. Today, you think that you have the original version of Christ or the original archetype of resurrection, and you don't. You have the modern new age papal version, and it's keeping you from seeing the truth that the people who originally created all of this wanted you to see. So when I say that the first archetype for resurrection was Satan, God coming down to the earth, the story was told through Lucifer first. And this is why Lucifer and Jesus have so many parallels. Believe it or not, everything you read about the serpent and Lucifer today is what the papacy is teaching you. But the serpent, Lucifer, was never a real monster. It was a symbol of a serpent that represented the soul inside of man living on after he died. And this is the knowledge of resurrection, of immortality, of life after death. And it was taught before Christ. And one of the first symbols that was used to teach the story of resurrection before Christ was called the Nehushtan. And the reason I wrote this on the board is so you can see firsthand what I mean about the serpent that Moses lifted up was Satan, that great dragon that fell. And he fell inside the body of man. And someday that dragon will rise up from the waters, will rise up from the sea, like what we read in the book of Revelation. This the same story of Christ. God coming down into the flesh and ascending back up to heaven. But we're misinterpreting the scriptures and taking them literally. And that's why we can't see these parallels. I don't want you to let the word Satan put any fear in you. Moses was teaching with Satan, or what we call Shaitan. So when you say Nehushtan, what we want to pay attention to, this part, that's Satan. The words Shaitan, over time, Shaitan becomes Satan. The H right here simply morphs into an A, it becomes Satan or Shaitan, Satan. But the deity, the archetype, the symbol that Moses lifted up was Shaitan, Nehushtan. Shaitan is Satan. This ain't nothing to be scared of. Yes, the origin, the foundation of Christianity is based in Shatanism or Satanism, and it ain't nothing to be scared of. It's simply the knowledge of the soul's ascension and the central nervous system. Again, the word Satan is the word Santa, and the word Santa is simply another way to say center. Now, where was the serpent located in the garden? In the center. This name Satan is just a name that we're given to a location. And in this location, the soul is seated. We were trying to personify the soul, but the papacy made us take it literally. Now we worship symbols, which are just graven images with no power. The power is in decoding the symbol. That's what gives you back the truth and takes away the spookism and fear-mongering. So when it comes to the serpent and when it comes to Christ, it's one key parallel that we need to focus on, and it's that they both represent the ascension of your soul, and this explains why they both must be lifted up. Another parallel that we see with the serpent and with Christ is that during the time of the serpent, before Christ, it was said that the serpent must be lifted up. The serpent must be uplifted. The serpent must be praised. The concept of people praising the serpent, uplifting the serpent, or raising the serpent up, like what Moses did, it's the same concept of us saying Jesus must be uplifted, or Jesus was raised up on the cross, or he was risen, or Christ must be uplifted. So we see this parallel with the serpent and with Christ, and it's because they both are two different symbols representing the same concept of the Kundalini rising. The Kundalini was symbolized as a serpent, and they would put wings on the serpent to symbolize it rising. Today, they just got Christ sort of levitating up to heaven. But the same concept of Christ being lifted up, symbolizing resurrection and the soul's journey to heaven, that was being taught before Christ. And instead of them using Christ, they used the serpent. And it's a reason that the papacy took us away from the serpent is because the serpent is directly connected to the Kundalini energy, and it shifts the focus to us versus some scary boogeyman called Satan. And they're hiding the truth with fear. And once they get you in fear, then you need something to save you from the fear. And that's where God come in. So when it comes to the serpent and when it comes to Christ, the key parallel we need to focus on is that they both represent the ascension of your soul. And this explains why they must be uplifted, because the ancestors was teaching that the soul within man must someday raise up out of the earth realm and escape the cycle of life and death, the rebirth cycles. The serpent, or the Kundalini energy within us, must be lifted up. And this is another way of saying that the soul inside of the body must someday rise up out of the body and out of the world. This is a very simple concept that stems from a very sensitive question that we all ask at some point in our life. And that is, what happens when we die? Human beings have always asked what happens when we die. And that question makes people vulnerable. Fear creates an opening for control. If someone claims that you'll suffer forever unless you obey their rules, your belief turns into submission. And this is how institutions like the church gain power, not by truth, but by exploiting fear. The older understanding taught something different, that life doesn't end, it just continues. If you would have asked an ancient person what happens when we die, they simply would have told you that your spirit will ascend to a higher realm. This is the same concept that the Bible speaks of when it talks about Jesus dying and giving up the ghost. Jesus' physical body didn't resurrect. Instead, his spirit ascended to heaven. The problem with the modern Jesus interpretation, which was created by the Roman Catholic Church, is that it hides the knowledge of self behind the literal interpretation, which turns into belief systems versus knowledge systems. And I'll give you an example. The serpent is a personification of a sine wave, and the word spirit is basically talking about your frequency that's unique, nothing like it. Some may call it DNA, but in a lot of cultures, you see the double serpent. The serpent is just your frequency, your cymatic energy, your wave. All waves are different. This is what the serpent represents, the frequency within you that lives on when the body dies. And that frequency just manifests as another version of you in a whole nother universe. But the reason I wanted to pull this up is because in the old world, if a person would have told you, praise God, it would have meant something different, because God just meant the infinite energy within every man. And so when a person told you praise God, they was telling you raise your frequency. Frequency, energy, vibration, that's God. It's omniscient, it's omnipresent, it's everywhere. There's no beginning to it, there's no end to it. You can't create it, you can't destroy it. When you praise God, guess what you're doing? You're raising frequency. A person in the old world, when they told you to praise God, they was telling you to raise your vibration. That's why the word raise is in the word praise. When people say praise God, they're saying raise your own vibration higher.
manifest the greatest part of yourself. God is your greatest. That's what the G means. That G is a spiral that can keep going and 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 spiraling. That's what this G means. It's energy, frequency, vibration, and it must be raised to God in you. Inner G, the inner G, the inner spiral, the inner vortex within you. It must mature. It must raise itself up beyond the earth realm. So when we say praise God, we're saying raise God. The truth is that the creator of the universe don't need man to uplift it, because it's already the most high, and you can't lift something up that's already elevated to its highest point. Hello. The truth is that we've been lied to and told that the creator of the universe need to be praised. But this is just the Roman Catholic Church purposely misinterpreting concepts that they plagiarized from the original knowledge of salvation and from early spiritual systems that were created by our ancestors. And the problem is, when the papacy came along, they hid the truth with literal interpretations. So when people are being taught to praise God or to raise God or to uplift God, what do you tell them that mean now? Think about it. The church came along, and what the church wanted to do was take away the original knowledge associated with these terms and symbols. So in the new world, when we say praise God, the church had to give us a new meaning to that. And the new meaning became lifting your hands up and basically calling out a bunch of wonderful words to some sky dude in the heavens. So if you ask a modern person, what does it mean to praise God? They will say basically to blabber a bunch of good words or whatever to this dude in the sky, as if God needs you to stroke his ego. But that's the programming that the church gave you. God needs you to connect with the frequency of God, the Christ within you, the kingdom of heaven within you. So today, sleep people, when they hear praise God, they react based upon their papal programming, and they react with a literal interpretation. Because truth is that when you tell a person to raise their frequency, frequency is energy, which is God. You just telling them to raise their vibration to a higher level, to their greatest potential. If you live beneath your greatest potential, according to the Hindu, you reincarnate. This is why it was so important to raise your frequency, to uplift the kundalini, to lift up the serpent. But today when we say God must be uplifted, people think some dude who created the universe need us to stroke its ego. But what do you tell people once you hide the original meaning? You have to come up with something new, and that's what they gave y'all. The new meaning with the literal interpretation of the symbol. They telling you it just means to boost God's spirit up, to lift God higher, glorify God, as if God won't be glorious without you saying a word. It's vain. So before we was talking about uplifting God, we was talking about uplifting each other, edifying each other with praise, with vibration, with frequency, with sound, with truth, with knowledge, with harmony. What if we did that every Sunday?
So that's why the serpent must be uplifted. And when it is, it gets wings. And we still do the same thing today. We put wings on deceased loved ones to symbolize the soul rising up and living on, or ascension. This is what is meant by Kundalini rising. Our spirit is a sine wave of energy, and the ancestors personified it as a serpent. And they would give the serpent wings to symbolize a liberated soul or an ascended soul. And the definition of a dragon is a winged serpent. And this is why Satan was a dragon. Satan was the first archetype for the dragon. The concept of a dragon was taught all throughout Egypt. It was a winged serpent. And again, the papacy made us see the dragon as a literal creature, which is why people believe in Satan. And that's why some people who think they woke, who don't believe in Satan, they still believe in literal dragons, which would be the new age concept of Satan, which is being orchestrated by the papacy as well. The papacy is all about making us misinterpret the old world symbols by translating them literally. But this concept of a winged serpent, which is a dragon, was never meant to be taken literally, because Because here is a dragon right here. Do you think that that was an actual man with a tail and some wings? It's symbolism. It was never meant to be taken literally. Furthermore, they said that people would ride on the backs of dragons. So you would have to take everything literally. You telling me people was riding around on winged reptile serpents that was breathing fire out of their mouth? Before Christ, the serpent was the archetype for resurrection. And the ancestors taught that when we die, the serpent rises up and lives on. And this was the original resurrection story. The church rejected this story because the only way that it can rule people is through fear. The only way that the church can enslave people spiritually is through manipulation and guilt trip and lying to them about what will happen when they die. So just to summarize, before Christ, the symbol of resurrection was the serpent, and ancient people taught that upon death, the serpent will ascend to heaven. And this is why it is taught that Jesus must be uplifted, because Jesus represents our kundalini or our spirit. And the ancestors taught that the spirit within man must rise up. Before Christ, people knew that immortality was something that is innate within us. We are immortal beings by default. The soul within us is immortal and can never die. It is pure energy, and energy cannot be created or destroyed. With this kind of teaching, you can't scare people with hellfires, and you can't gain their service by promoting immortality, because a person with the knowledge of self knows that they are already an immortal being. So again, the serpent represented the spirit inside of man. Later, the serpent was replaced with Jesus. And when the replacement took place, we stopped looking at the new symbol, being Christ, as a representation of our soul. Jesus Christ represents a brand new age concept that the Roman Empire brought in to hide the truth behind literal interpretations. So this is why people think that they have to praise Christ for immortality, when the truth is that the word praise is the word raise, and uplifting Christ or raising up Christ is just another.
It's important for me to plug in. Yeah.
My hat's shifted.
It's important for me to plug in at this point that the literal interpretation did away with the law, and that's why so many contradictions in the Bible. Jesus said, I didn't come to do away with the law, right? So what we don't realize is the people who came to America, the people that was on world conquest, KP, they weren't Christians. They weren't the truth. They lied like they Christians, but they the synagogue of Satan the Bible talks about. So these fake Christians were called outlaws, barbarians, vandals, or this the famous term, the lawless ones, because Satan is the lawless one, right? Them and they God operate outside the law. Notice I said law and not laws plural, because when the Bible talking about the law, it's talking about the law of karma. Right? So what the serpent represented was the law of karma, because that's what dictated whether the serpent be uplifted or not, if your good actions outweigh your bad actions. You know Ma'at, right?
Yeah.
So the barbarians wanted to kill everybody, take their land, so they didn't like the law of karma. Because how I'm going to teach the law of karma if I'm hanging people and taking their land? So they did away with the law. What the barbarians was looking for a way to cheat the law. And our ancestors was teaching that in the law that some got to die for some to live. And when they were saying that, they were saying that the ego got to die for the soul to live. And then what the barbarian did, they took that literally again, and they started doing blood sacrifices, saying some gotta die for me to wash away my wrongs so I can live. That got turned into Jesus dying on the cross and you washing away the sins with his blood. That is a blood sacrifice. That's Satanism. The people who calling themselves Christians were barbarian, lawless Satanists by the real modern definition, not by the word what Satan really meant when we had it, which was Santa or center, the central nervous system balance. My bad. Yeah, we got a mic on over there. My bad. Yeah, so it's just important for me to plug that the reason people like in EFI, they will kill chickens and drink goat blood. That and you know, Christians will judge them people. And I'd be like, wait a minute, your communion is literally you drinking a man's blood and eating his flesh. But then the Christians will say, well, it ain't his real body. But if you ask them, why do y'all eat the cracker and drink the wine? They will say, well, it's because Jesus' body decomposed. We can't get his body. So you telling me if you had his body, y'all would be practicing cannibalism. So Christians will look at the people in EFI in Africa covering themselves in goat blood or lamb blood.
Right.
And they'll say those people are evil, but they'll say, I'm covered in the blood of Christ to wash away my sins. Now, the people in EFI saying that the blood is taking their evil away. Ain't that's what they saying about Jesus' blood?
This is true. That is true.
So everyone is just literally interpreting ancient stuff, because when the ancestors were saying some gotta die for some to live, they weren't saying go kill a goat, go kill a lamb. They were saying kill your ego. So your soul can live. But yeah, and that's the difference between literal interpretation get us away from the law and get us into blood sacrifice, human sacrifice. Non-literal interpretation, which is decoding, is self-accountability. Everybody got to work on themselves to make their serpent rise up. You see what I'm saying? So that's why the ancestors didn't have prisons. They didn't have the evil in their world that we got today. Because when you teaching people everything you do, you're going to pay for it with the law of karma, people going to be careful what they do to people versus you telling them, look, Jesus paid the price for all your wrongdoings, right?
Yeah.
So it's like if I tell everybody in the world, you could go commit, you know, if I tell everybody in the world, you can go commit any crime you want to commit, and I will go to jail for you. Sanchez will do your time. Man, people have been and killed their baby mama, robbed 100 banks in one day.
Right.
And kill a priest.
Right.
You know that if you tell a person they ain't got to pay the price for what they did, the world gonna be out of control. And look at the world around us with all these churches. All these, you see what I'm saying? And it's because of the literal interpretation. And can't nobody say, well, Jesus didn't do away with the law. You're right. The papacy did, and the church following them straight to hell. That's what I'm saying. They will say Jesus didn't do away with the law. Then they'll say my sins is washed away with a blood sacrifice. You can't have them both. You see what I'm saying? It was Paul that was teaching we ain't bound by the law, but Paul was an implant working for the Roman Empire, which is why he kept writing to the Romans. That was for them. They was on world conquest.
Right,
don't let me get on Paul.
Oh man,
because I don't let me get on Paul. Most Christians think they Christians, they Paulinians. But we can go back to the video if y'all want. No.
Yeah, I'm actually I've been hearing stuff about Paul here and there. You know, Saul, Paul. Go ahead, let's go.
Let's get back to it. The lower self has to rise up, and that we must mature spiritually in order to ascend to the higher realms. One of the early names of the serpent was Satan, and Satan is just an alternate version of the word Santa, which means center. And this is why the serpent is in the center of the garden, because it was taught that the spirit within man exits the body at the seat of the soul, which is the most central part of us. The original story of resurrection was told through Satan. Satan was the first archetype and story that was used to teach how our souls fell from heaven and how they would rise back up to heaven once we complete our life cycles. When the Bible speaks about the beast being set free in the end of days, or when the Hindus speak about the beast rising up from the sea, it represents Christ rising back up to heaven after completing his earthly life. Because again, Christ represents the Kundalini, which is the serpent. And when the serpent rises up to heaven, it gets wings. It's the dragon. or Satan. And the concept of in the end of days, the beast gonna be set free. In the old world, what that meant was at the completion of all of your life cycles, the Kundalini energy within you will be liberated. It'll be free. It will no longer be bound to the simulation or the matrix or life and death. It will have the keys over life and death as we see represented with Jesus. When you take that literally, people will wait for millennia after millennia for a literal dragon to rise from the sea. And when it don't, they'll just create one. They'll just say, well, the Statue of Liberty is the beast rising from the sea. But when you realize that the Statue of Liberty represents the same thing that Christ represents, which is why the Statue of Liberty, Lucifer, and Christ all share the same parallels when it comes to all of them being light bearers, all of them representing resurrection or freedom or liberation, because that's what resurrection is liberation of the soul. So this was all to teach about how we manifested in the flesh.
Did you say something? Hold up.
Yeah. I'm curious. Is the Statue of Liberty part confusing y'all? Because people don't know that the Statue of Liberty is a form of Enoch or Krishna. Like the Statue of Liberty is older than people think. And you know what I'm saying? And the thing is, Egypt is younger than people think. I don't know if y'all researched Tartaria yet and all this stuff, but the fact is when Columbus and them came here, the Statue of Liberty was already there, right? They didn't build it. So, cause the pilgrims was building mud huts. You know, I'm gonna share some with you.
Okay.
Jesus and Krishna is the same deity. We know that. But what people don't realize is when I say that the Christians in this that showed up as invaders, right? They wasn't real Christians. I'm gonna share my screen real quick, AD.
Right.
So these guys wasn't real Christians, right? When they showed up, they saw the Statue of Liberty. Remember now, Krishna was teaching about liberation, the serpent rising up. If you go read about Krishna was teaching about resurrection, liberation before Christ too in the Eastern world. So the thing about Krishna rising up from the sea, it turned to the beast rising up from the sea because Krishna got 7 heads, and that's representing your 7 chakras, your 7 versions of yourself, which exist in 7 parallel realities, right? So we gotta go and live out our life in each of these 7 realities before we can make it out of this thing. So the whole thing is that every time we live and die, the last versions of ourself that's left get stronger. And they showed you this in the movie Jet Li. In the movie Jet Li the one, and in the Bible it say when one of the heads of the beast die, the other heads get stronger. So the last beast head is a BITCH. That last beast head, you ain't gonna beat him. That's what they call in Asia the last dragon. Man, listen, that last dragon is so powerful because that's the last version of you that collected all experience from all these lifetimes, bro. And that one is getting wise and stronger. And the Hindu said after that one, the last dragon, it's the last one because you break the cycles of life and death after that. So the word 7 dealing with days of the week is dealing with our 7 life cycles in our weak form, which is the flesh, our dense form, weak, you know. But the thing about Krishna walking on water right here, it became Jesus walking on the water. But you can see that Krishna floating on a lotus flower, and that's the Statue of Liberty. It's all the same. They both had a crown of thorns like Christ, but liberation is resurrection. So when people say, where were the earliest forms of Christianity in America before the pilgrim showed up? Yep, it wasn't no such thing as a Western world. It was just all the Eastern world. Everywhere you went on earth, you just saw this same concept in Egypt of the serpent rising up from the waters. The whole concept of Western world is new, and the Western world is a new baby that was just born out of the Eastern world 400 years ago based on literal interpretations. All of the people in the Western world are under the papal literal interpretations. All of the people in the Eastern world are still meditating, raising a kundalini, the monks up in Tibet. They got the old system. That's why when you look at the Olmec statues, they're sin Indian style meditating. Ain't nobody on their knees praying. Because when Columbus showed up, we weren't on our knees praying. We was practicing what they was practicing in Egypt and everywhere else. Wasn't no Western world. It was just the Eastern world. And they didn't call it the Eastern world. They just called it the world. This concept of a Western world is brand new based upon a split of how we interpreting this information, which connected the whole world at one point, but now it's separated based upon what we call Westerners and their literal interpretation, creating goon culture, because the Roman Empire had a big army of goons. And the reason they was able to do what they was doing is because when you teaching people that they ain't bound to the law, then yeah, you can go around the world raping people and torturing babies. But if we teaching people that everything you do, you gonna pay for it, who you think gonna be the most vicious and toughest? You see what I'm saying? So that's how everything got taken over by these lawless ones going around. After they conquer you, they do away with the law. They raise your next generation of people. They take your same symbols and they just literally interpret them. And that's how they hide the truth and create a praying, tithing, pastor, pork chop loving, modern Black Christian, or, you know, even Hebrew or more, anybody that's literally interpreting these texts. These things was symbolic stories to teach about the journey of our soul, y'all. Thank you to everyone for letting me speak that. If you on my side, I'm gonna read all donations at the end out of respect for KP's show. Appreciate y'all. And yeah, you could play the video, KP.
Okay.
Real quick, isn't this also considered the difference between the exoteric versus the esoteric?
Yeah, exactly. Because what happens is, I'm glad you asked that, AD, because what happens is the what you call it, what's the opposite of esoteric?
Exoteric.
And what was the other one you said?
So exo versus esoteric.
Exo versus eso, one inward, one outward, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for that right there. So the exo, right? So the esoteric is the inward. And the thing about that one, it leads to you trying to conquer your ego. The exoteric is the literal interpretation, which leads to Zionism. That leads to you trying to conquer the world. So the Romans was on world conquest. Our ancestors was on self-conquest. Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, bomb. Give him a bomb for that one.
Sure.
Well, let's go back to the presentation.
Okay, I'm gonna turn off the screen share.
Let me get my
Actually,
screen share off.
I could do this right there.
Damn, it's
We can keep it like that.
yeah.
Boom. Okay.
Came in with flying kicks, roundhouses, and can't even get set up. It's like boom, boom. Go ahead, let's go.
Let's go.
And how we will manifest out of the flesh. Because for many years, just like we mentioned, people have always wanted to know about the hereafter and the here before. And they didn't wait until the Roman Empire started to invade the whole world to find out. Everyone already knew this. In fact, it was the Roman Empire that learned this knowledge from the people that they
and it don't sound the same. I was just letting them know, but I'll fall back.
Okay, well, I was about to set a warning. If you coming up in here to speak to this man, he's fully loaded, and trained. Trained. Man, this is crazy. If y'all got questions, we're gonna finish with this. But this brother is fully loaded, trained, and he's a weapon of mass destruction right now, mass production. Because this is heavy. Go ahead, continue. Let's go.
enslaved and they corrupted the knowledge. creating the modern plagiarized version that most of the world is subscribed to today. And again, this version hides the knowledge of self behind literal interpretations. So Satan was called the dragon because Satan was a winged serpent, and winged serpents are ascended souls, just like Jesus. The concept of a winged serpent or a dragon is only spooky in Western culture. If you go to Asia, the men call themselves dragons. Jet Li, his nickname is the dragon. Bruce Lee nickname is the dragon. To call yourself a dragon in the Eastern world is like calling yourself a lion in the Western world. But the lion, the dragon, all of these are animals that were once archetypes for the Kundalini. Even in some depictions, you will see half lion, half serpent. And this is
pause it.
Just 1 second. Can he take it back like 2 minutes?
Yeah,
and
please.
Then and share it like how he was doing it the first time, because it sounds different and we don't see the screen.
My
like
fault. You know why? Because we switched the screen share. That's what it was.
Oh, okay. My bad.
My bad. No, you're right.
Take us back 2
I
minutes.
got you. Yeah, no, I had to. We switched screen share. That's what happened. I forgot to share it back. Okay, we back. I'll bring it back 2 minutes. We were on 22. I'm bringing it back to 20. Okay. Here we go.
will have the keys over life and death, as we see represented with Jesus. When you take that literally, people will wait for millennia after millennia for a literal dragon to rise from the sea. And when it don't, they'll just create one. They'll just say, well, the Statue of Liberty is the beast rising from the sea. But when you realize that the Statue of Liberty represents the same thing that Christ represents, which is why the Statue of Liberty, Lucifer, and Christ all share the same parallels when it comes to all of them being light bearers, all of them representing resurrection or freedom or liberation. Because that's what resurrection is liberation of the soul. So this was all to teach about how we manifested in the flesh and how we will manifest out of the flesh. Because for many years, just like we mentioned, people have always wanted to know about the hereafter and the here before. And they didn't wait until the Roman Empire started to invade the whole world to find out. Everyone already knew this. In fact, it was the Roman Empire that learned this knowledge from the people that they enslaved, and they corrupted the knowledge, creating the modern plagiarized version that most of the world is subscribed to today. And again, this version hides the knowledge of self behind literal interpretations. So Satan was called the dragon because Satan was a winged serpent, and winged serpents are ascended souls, just like Jesus. The concept of a winged serpent or a dragon is only spooky in Western culture. If you go to Asia, the men call themselves dragons. Jet Li, his nickname is the dragon. Bruce Lee nickname is the dragon. To call yourself a dragon in the Eastern world is like calling yourself a lion in the Western world. But the lion, the dragon, all of these are animals that were once archetypes for the Kundalini. Even in some depictions, you will see half lion, half serpent. And this is why all of the symbols associated with Jesus is the lion, the serpent, the fish. All of these were different animals that at some point were archetypes for the Kundalini. So calling yourself a god in American culture is like calling yourself a dragon in Asian culture. Simply means that I'm an immortal being. I'm one that lives on. In fact, the word devil backwards just mean lived. Satan is this beast that rises from the sea in the end of days. And many people think that it is the Statue of Liberty because the Statue of Liberty is called the light bearer. But like I said, if you want to cancel the Statue of Liberty, then you will have to cancel Jesus, because Jesus is also called the light bearer. And the reason that there's a huge connection between Jesus and Satan is because everything I've been telling you in this video, it's because of the fact that Satan was the first archetype for resurrection. And this archetype evolved into the modern Jesus Christ archetype that everyone has as a symbol of resurrection today. The beast being free at the end of the world was another way of saying that the Kundalini within man will be liberated at the completion of your 7 life cycles when you awaken from the simulation or matrix. When the Bible says that the beast will be free in the end of days, it's talking about the fact that the lower self will rise up when your earth journey is over. The end of days simply meant the end of one's life. And the beast rising up from the sea simply meant the soul emerging from the waters above, or the spirit rising up out of the body. And this same concept can be seen with Lord Krishna, this 7-headed dragon that rise up from the sea. When you see Krishna floating on a lotus flower, they turned this into Jesus walking on the water. They also turned it into Moses floating down the Nile in a wicker basket. But none of this was meant to be taken literally. All of this was talking about the soul's astral journey out to death. This is what Moses learned from the Egyptians. And in a lot of Egyptian artwork like this one right here, you can see the Pharaoh on a boat outside of the universe. He's traveling on the back of the sky goddess Nut. He's in heaven. He's outside the earth realm, and he's on his cosmic boat floating on top of the waters above. These are not earthly waters. The concept of the beast rising up from the sea is your soul leaving the earth realm and traveling on top of the earth, sitting on top of the world, right? Like what we see with the Pharaoh here on his cosmic boat. It wasn't literal. It wasn't talking about in our earthly form. It was dealing with our God body. I show you the similarities between the Statue of Liberty, Lord Krishna, and Jesus Christ, because all of these are part of an old world spiritual system that was teaching everyone liberation. And this system predates the current papal system that most of the world is currently subscribed to. This is why the Beast of Revelation has 7 heads, and why the Statue of Liberty has 7 spikes, and why Lord Krishna has 7 serpents. This represents the 7 life cycles that one must complete in order to liberate their souls. And with each life cycle, we get stronger and stronger. We get more experience. We learn more. So the soul gets stronger and stronger. And when we read in Revelation that every time one of the heads of the beast dies, the other ones get stronger, it's because the power go from the dead beast into the other beast. All of his knowledge and experience goes into them. So the next you in your next lifetime will have all of the knowledge and experience you collected from this one. It's essentially the only thing we get to take with us. So knowledge is power, not material stuff in this sense. So every time one of the heads of the beast die, the other ones get stronger. And this is where the concept of the last dragon comes into play, because the last dragon is the strongest one because it has received all of the power from the last slain heads. And there's a good movie you can go watch. It's called Jet Li 1. And in that movie, he basically shows this whole concept. The symbol that Moses used to represent resurrection wasn't exclusive to the early Christians, who would have been wise men or Gnostics at the time. But the knowledge was universal. It was an old world system that was worldwide. In fact, it was the pre-Babel system that we read about in the Bible. It was this system that was universal to everyone on earth. And the real Babel Tower is the central nervous system, or what's called the backbone of Osiris. It's basically the knowledge of the chakras, the 7 frequencies, and the knowledge of the ascension and descension of consciousness. And it's a very simple concept. Don't let it confuse you. The tree can be looked at as an antenna, and the serpent on the tree can be looked at as the messenger, a sine wave, something that's being transmitted. Think of a radio station broadcasting a song or a signal. So the central nervous system is the seat of the soul. It's like an antenna in the middle of our body. that allows for our soul, which is an invisible signal, to be transmitted inside of the body. And there are many conceptions of this. Here's one from the Nordic people. We can see the serpent wrapped around a tree. This predates the Garden of Eden story, and it shows you the serpent on the tree, which later becomes Christ on the cross. Here's the one from Hindu. Here we can see the serpent wrapped around a tree, but that serpent is the one that they call the Buddha.
Can we take
Just
a break?
like Jesus is the serpent,
Take a
Buddha
breather.
is the serpent.
Oh my Lord. Good Lord. Hold up. I had to stop you for a minute. We gotta take that back a little bit.
Priest needs a breath right now. Priest needs-
Hey,
The brother
salutes
can't-
to KP.
It's a lot.
Yo, listen.
It is, though.
I didn't know you was gonna come in.
Like I'm loving every
We have to
second
take
of
the kids.
this.
We have to, those who are not prepared, they gotta go to the bed. This is a special show right here. I want you to take it back a little bit. Take it back a little bit.
This is like giving concentrates
Yeah,
to
you just
some.
came in straight for the neck.
Yeah, it's like smoking concentrates to somebody who hasn't smoked before. Because it's a lot coming in all at once. It's very.
Let's take it back to the right before the Garden of Eden. I'm going to give the audience a time to take a breath.
It's very dense
Dope.
knowledge.
That's dope.
It's a lot of
brother.
like.
dope, brother.
It's like when you get that stuff compressed, if you know what I mean. When
Yeah.
it come compressed. And I put it on Facebook because you know how they is on
Beautiful.
Facebook.
That was smart.
attention span is like.
Right, right. And I like the music that you got behind it.
This has to go on
Super.
Instagram and YouTube also for
Yeah,
sure.
this is heavy. Take it right back, and then we got a little breather. This is not for the faint of minds. This is for real.
Yeah.
Go ahead, guys. Let's go.
You want me to go back like a minute or so?
Yeah, go back a minute. Let's go.
Okay, we got 29.
I've never done that, man. That was heavy. Brother is in a groove right now.
Yep.
Woo. Go ahead.
Okay, here we go.
It was this system that was universal to everyone on earth. And the real Babel Tower is the central nervous system, or what's called the backbone of Osiris. It's basically the knowledge of the chakras, the 7 frequencies, and the knowledge of the ascension and descension of consciousness. And it's a very simple concept. Don't let it confuse you. The tree can be looked at as an antenna, and the serpent on the tree can be looked at as the messenger, a sine wave, something that's being transmitted. Think of a radio station broadcasting a song or a signal. So the central nervous system is the seat of the soul. It's like an antenna in the middle of our body that allows for our soul, which is an invisible signal, to be transmitted inside of the body. And there are many conceptions of this. Here's one from the Nordic people. We can see the serpent wrapped around a tree. This predates the Garden of Eden story, and it shows you the serpent on the tree, which later becomes Christ on the cross. Here's the one from Hindu. Here we can see the serpent wrapped around a tree, but that serpent is the one that they call the Buddha. Just like Jesus is the serpent, Buddha is the serpent. It represents the consciousness in the lower realm, or God manifested on earth as a man. The connection between heaven and earth. So we can see here Buddha inside the tree is the same concept as the serpent being on the tree, or Jesus being on the cross, represent death and rebirth, life and death, or man being awake while God is asleep, and life being but a dream, and then death being awakening when Buddha wake up. Basically the same concept we get for Neo in the Matrix. It's not original. It's all old world knowledge and truth that everyone once knew before it became a cult. And it don't have to be a cult. A cult just mean hidden. It don't mean evil. And the only reason this stuff is hidden is because they cloaked it in spookism, mysticism, and fear. This image here shows you, just like Buddha, we see the pharaoh in the tree, the serpent being attached to the tree. We can see that same concept here with the pharaoh. And in this image, this is a collage to show you the Moses staff with the Kundalini, with the Nordic version that we just talked about. And I also added the Kabbalah in here so you can see that Kabbalah is just this same serpent knowledge of the old world. And the serpent on the tree here, Jesus on the cross. And they show y'all this same concept of Jesus in his serpent form at the Vatican. But you miss the truth because people go into fear, spookism. In the Western world, we're scared of snakes, and it's due to papal programming. But everyone else know that the snake is the archetype of wisdom. So we see a lot of serpent symbolism at the Vatican. People point it out, but they misinterpret it because they fear take over, mysticism take over, spookism take over. This serpent symbolism is just them hiding the old world truth right in our face. And if you can hide something right in front of someone's face, they'll never see it. What we're seeing here at the Vatican is Christ lifted up on the tree in his serpent form. You can see if you look at this from another perspective, Christ becomes a serpent with the mouth open versus a guy with the hair blowing in the wind. But it's nothing to be afraid of. It's just that these guys are hiding the truth. It's because this truth will set humanity free. This same serpent you can see has the spikes on the head, which became Jesus' crown of thorns. But the reason I bring up the spikes in relation to being set free is to show you how it relates to the Statue of Liberty and what liberation originally meant. It was the old world form of Christianity, which was the teachings of resurrection or liberating the soul from the lower realm. And here is just another image, shows you the sun and moon on each side of this double-headed serpent, but it shows you the serpent in the middle of the garden. It shows you why Jesus breaks the bread, because this serpent creates duality or night and day, yin and yang. And it also shows you why Jesus is always surrounded by disciples. So here we have this double-headed serpent right here in this old artwork. And you can see all of these concepts that we see with Jesus and Satan. This picture here is a dead giveaway because in this old piece of art right here, we can literally see Jesus attached to the tree. That's a dead giveaway that Jesus is the serpent that we see in Genesis on the tree. Jesus ain't a literal guy that walked the earth. It's an archetype that has evolved over time and morphed into many versions. And the version you got today is hiding the truth. So when you take a look at this artwork here and compare it to what we see in the Vatican, you can see what they telling us right in our face. They want to act like the Western world isn't a baby of the Eastern world. They want to act like the Western world didn't learn everything it knows from the Eastern world and corrupted that knowledge. So that's the hidden history behind liberty being Krishna, the serpent being demonized in the Western world, but yet worshipped in secrecy by the Vatican and the occult.
This gonna be real quick right here, Killer Priest.
Yeah.
See, the whole thing about me bringing up the Western world, Eastern world thing, it's because, like I was showing you right there, like how the East, it was no Western world. This was the Eastern world. And one thing about the Eastern world I want to point out was, I'm muted on my side. So one thing about the Eastern world I wanted to point out was one of the earliest deities of resurrection in the East was that blue genie. You always see him in the Arab videos, the Middle Eastern video, the blue genie, right? So that Krishna is basically a genie, and Krishna rising up from the sea is basically the genie is an old god that represent resurrection before Christ. And the genie is also what the Statue of Liberty is. Coming up. So when you see the Statue of Liberty busting up out this box right here, that is Jack in a Box right there. Jack in a Box is Jack in the Box is an old resurrection deity too, coming up out the Saturn's cube. And then the whole, the cube of Allah is the Kubala Kubala. So the whole thing about Jack coming out the box, Jack is later interpreted into Jacob's ladder or Jacob's ladder, leaving up out the earth.
Give him a bomb.
So,
for that one. Give him a bomb for that one.
Yeah.
Damn.
See, and on top of that, one more I give you too. If you take the word Enoch, right, and you rearrange
Like
the word Enoch,
yeah,
because Enoch leaving the earth, if you rearrange the word Enoch, it becomes Cheney with a CH, not the G, but Cheney. And
what?
he's a genie too, leaving the earth about the dome. These
Wait,
are
what
genies. Yeah.
Go ahead. What's the name again? What you say? Enoch. Switch that around, and it's Cheney.
Take the name. Yeah. Put
CHON.
do it on the paper.
Yeah.
I can get on the board too if y'all want me to and do.
Enoch. Okay, you got the E. Sheeny. What?
It's like Chino.
Oh, shout out to R.I.P. This Chino XL.
But see, the whole doubt. When you say the C and the H, right?
I get it. Yeah,
The G is Gino. So when the book of the Bible start with because the Bible start with Genesis for a reason, because the word Genesis is really genies, and that's why it start with the serpent.
Right. That's hard.
I'll go
That's hard.
that.
That's hard. That's hard. That's hard. I never heard nothing like that. Genesis, genie, man.
Yeah, Noah too. If we go to etymology right now, I can prove that Noah and Enoch is the same person, and that's why they both leaving the dome, leaving the ark. Noah leaving the ark is, me too. That's why I rocks with this community, bro.
Thank you, my brother.
Because Noah leaving that ark and the reset was not literal; it was your own death and rebirth, right? The ark leaving the ark after the reset is the soul leaving up out the skull. That's why in the hospital, right? They'll tell you, right, that even when a person die, when a person die, they see more neural activity than when they was alive coming up out the skull. And the reason for that is because all the light within a person is leaving out the top arm. It's like if you fill up a kitchen sink with water, then you pour the drain on it, all that water gonna rush out that opening down there to leave out. And when they light leaving their body, that's why it's more activity in the neural on the neural mapping than when they're alive. They act baffled, but they know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
I heard that concept of a light right before the light blows, it gets the brightest. Right before it goes out, the light for a second, it gets brighter than it ever was, and then it goes out.
Man, listen.
Just adding on to
show you what you just did. Watch this.
Right.
What you just said right there, Killer Priest. That is jewels. You gotta drop your supper bomb.
Oh man,
check this out.
Just adding on. Word.
Because look, right here, when the light get its brightest right before it go out, we see that during a total eclipse. And guess what? The total eclipse is showing us what the sperm doing at the moment of conception. And what's crazy about all of this is that the sperm doing what you just said is how we entered the earth realm of the great fall. And this right here got later translated into Eve biting an apple. But it's literally us entering the egg, which is a stargate. But this what put us in the Moloch furnace right now. But this Moloch bell that we in is to mold us to our greater version. So pressure make diamonds. So all of the shit we going through in here ain't gonna do nothing but make us this fire version of ourselves. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna fall back though.
Yeah, you said a lot on this. You said enough on this. Let's get back to the film. Rotate.
members, because it represents the knowledge of us. It will take away all the fears that they use against the world about burning in hell fires and what happened when you die. A person that want to know what happened when you die is vulnerable. And the papacy is taking advantage of that vulnerability, creating an institution of mental, spiritual slavery by lying to people to create a system of fear. And the opposite of fear is love. If we didn't have all of this fear, we would replace it with knowledge, spiritual maturity, and love for ourselves versus fear of God. If you still don't think that Jesus being the light bearer and Lucifer being the light bearer is proof that they are the same deity, check this out. Here go an image of Lucifer. This predates Jesus. But if you look at this image of Jesus right here, you see the similarities. Jesus got his arms open with a portal opening up to accept his ghost. And Jesus is on top of Mount Calvary, some sort of mountain. Now, this image I'm showing you here of Lucifer predates Jesus.
That's
they
a
both
wild
are
image,
called
though,
the light bearers. This is more proof that Satan is the original form of Jesus, the serpent that Moses lifted up to teach about resurrection. And the reason that the papacy got rid of that old system is because it interprets the symbol to Kundalini, which shifts the narrative to us. And that's dangerous to the church, because the church want the narrative to be focused on this false Christ that y'all are worshiping. It was never an object of worship. We were never worshiping images or graven images. The images were just symbols that embodied deeper knowledge about ourselves. And the people who don't want you to have that knowledge, rather you just worship the symbol, which is vain, vanity. The symbols don't speak. The Bible even forbid it. Most people ain't following the Bible, they following the papacy. So we see this image of Satan on top of a mountain with his arms open, and there's a portal open in the sky to allow Satan to transcend from the earthly realm to the spiritual realm above. So these were archetypes that was teaching the knowledge of how the earth is connected with heaven and how consciousness shift between the two. Here goes some other versions of here that I put in a collage for you. The God Inky and a couple of others. You can pause it and look at this. But what I really want to point out about this collage is that the image next to Yahweh in the top left corner is basically the brain cut open. And we looking into it from the top down view. And what we can see is this same concept, because what they call the seat of the soul, the center of the brain, it looks like a man dressed in all black like the devil, the Ripper, who's another form of Satan. But this guy in the middle of the brain has his arms open, just like Christ, just like Satan. And just like Christ and Lucifer, there's a portal open. So all of this was just personifying the central nervous system, deep knowledge about the brain and consciousness. That's why all of these deities is resembling the biology that governs our consciousness. So the reason that they're on top of this mountain is because the head is the temple, the dome, the crown. When consciousness leaves the head, they symbolize that with a man mounted up on top of a dome. And that's why we say, I'm sitting on top of the world. To leave the world is to leave your body, and vice versa. And what I'm giving you here, you can see here, this is the whole concept behind Jack in the Box. And you can see here another collage here from Egypt showing you Heru next to Christ. All of these predates Christ. He's the youngest one. And what's so crazy about it, it's the one that shifts the narrative away from us. Here's another image of the god Sokar resurrecting, leaving the earth simulation. Here's another collage. You get the point, right? We can do this all day, but it shows you different deities resurrecting on top of some mountain, some dome. And this simply meant liberation. We can see here with Christ, he's just a modern version of this same concept. And we can't forget about Yahweh right here, as you can see hovering in the clouds. The clouds is our brain. This is why the ancestors said, as above, so below. They knew that the layout of the cosmos was the exact same layout as the human biology. That's why they spoke about the waters above, because they knew that the brain was like 80% water. The same way that they conceive the earth, you can literally look at the human brain and they are identical. And that's why we say, as above, so below. Let thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. God in heaven represents consciousness residing in the crown, at the seat of the soul. You can't see the mind, but it's showing you that the mind is connecting to this realm via a higher reality. So if you look at this image right here of Enoch, you can see Enoch ascending. He's ascending up out of the earth realm, and Enoch is representing consciousness, leaving up out the sky vault that we see here. When we cut the brain open, we can see that this little portal in the middle of the brain represent the place where consciousness leaves the earth. For example, when we dream, when we have out-of-body experiences or astral project. But if you look at Enoch here, this is why the papacy removed the book of Enoch from the Bible, because the book of Enoch clearly talks about the flat earth, the nature of the heavens, how it connects with our consciousness, central nervous system. They had to get rid of that and replace it with the space program and give you a whole nother concept about leaving the earth and rockets with astronauts. But the Bible says no flesh and blood can enter the kingdom of heaven. And what they was talking about is what we're calling space today, because the ancient people knew that the realms above us weren't physical, and that the way that you access the heavens is through out-of-body experiences. And that's what all of these archetypes and symbols represent, consciousness shifting between the heaven and the earth. And if you look at this image of Enoch right here and compare it to the Statue of Liberty, you can see how all this was just an old world system of liberation, aka resurrection. They're one and the same. In this image of Yahweh, I wanted to point out how all of the rays of light appear to pierce him in his sides. This is the same concept that we see with the modern Jesus Christ. The all-seeing eye is another archetype representing when the consciousness ascends from the earth realm. This pyramid represents physicality. The spiritual realm is above the physical realm, or mind over matter.
Hey, KP,
God ruling over the earth.
Yeah.
Hey, KP, basically, KP, this will be like a 10-second line I'm gonna plug in.
You see my hat?
Hey, guess what? Salutes to it. To the people on my side, thanks for that mic check, man. But the pyramid with the all-seeing eye, right? That right there is the westernized version of the Egyptian Ben stone. So the Ben stone that lifts up, it ain't, remember when they say, well, the step pyramid in Egypt, a lot of people will say it's primitive, it's missing a capstone. That means there's something wrong with it. The truth is that it's actually harder to make a step pyramid than one with the smooth sides. And not only that, the step pyramid is showing us the spinal column. If you look at the step pyramid, it's 7 steps. And the step pyramid is called Saqqara, which is the Egyptian word for chakra. It's 7 chakras. So the highest chakra being the crown, it's not in the body. It's hovering over the body. So that's what you see, and that's what the Ben stone and the all-seeing eye represent. But I'm gonna fall back right there.
Man, 7-step program. Just want to say that. That's like in some rehab centers, they got 7-step programs, and just want to add on. Good.
The mind ruling over the body. But if you look at this all-seeing eye with all of the rays emanating from it, these rays of light emanating from these deities is why we say Christ is pierced in all of his sides, because Christ is just a modern interpretation of these archetypes. And here we can see with the Pharaoh Aten the same thing. Hands open, portal open above him, the rays of light all being directed toward the Pharaoh like a puppet on a string, showing you how the mind hovers right above the physical reality, and all of our thoughts, they don't come from our physical brain. Our thoughts don't originate in the brain. Our brain just processes the thoughts, and they are just signals that are being broadcasted from a higher realm according to the ancestors. And here you can see with the Pharaoh here, the serpent inside of that portal, showing you the serpent symbolism, but all of the rays of the light connecting to the Pharaoh. It's the concept of Jesus being pierced in his sides. If you think of a puppet attached to strings, this is why Jesus is pierced in his sides. And this is why Jesus can't do his own will. Jesus have to do the will of the Father. This is like a puppet master puppet situation, but it's showing you how every action that takes place in the physical realm plays out in the mental or spiritual realm first. When they say power comes from the top down, it's the same concept with how things manifest in the mental realm before the physical realm. So the concept of the serpent wrapped around the tree, or the kundalini, again, it wasn't exclusive to Moses, just like the Bible say he learned it from the Egyptians. And here is an Egyptian version that predates Moses. The symbol of Moses, the serpent wrapped around the cross, I wanted to show you its original roots right here in America, because when Columbus came to America, Columbus wasn't a Christian. The pilgrims, the people that invaded America, they weren't Christians. They lied in history. They were Roman pagans, polytheistic. So when the pilgrims landed here, they were taught Christianity by the Indians. Indians were the real Christians, but it wasn't called Christianity. It was called Gnosticism. And before Jesus Christ was on the cross replacing the serpent, what we need to know is that when these pilgrims plagiarized this spiritual system and corrupted it, the earliest versions that they created themselves weren't yet of Jesus Christ on the cross. We see with Moses, it was the serpent on the cross first. But I wanted to show you where they get that from, because I showed you the history of this symbol in Egypt. But what I wanted to show you here was just that this was universal knowledge. It wasn't exclusive to Moses, the Egyptians. So another culture that I wanted to show you who had this knowledge was the Indians, the natives, the indigenous Americans. When we look at the pyramid called Kukulkan here, it's a step pyramid because it represents the spinal column, the central nervous system. It's 7 steps because it's 7 steps to heaven, and it's 7 chakras. It's 7 life cycles that we must complete. And this is the concept of the consciousness rising up the stairway to heaven, or the kundalini rising. This pyramid tells the same story of resurrection. People say, where is the early Christian roots in America, Sanchez, if the pilgrims that came here didn't bring the concept of the serpent wrapped around the cross with them? Where did they learn it from if you saying that they learned it from the natives that were here? And I'm showing you here, if you look at this pyramid from a top-down view, it is literally a cross. And the story that they told about this pyramid is that there's a serpent wrapped around it, as you can see in all of the artwork that I'm showing you here. So when the pilgrims showed up to America, they didn't know anything about consciousness. They were barbarians, invaders, buccaneers, and raiders. They were Vikings. They hadn't yet evolved to the level of psychological sciences that the Egyptians, the natives, and the rest of the world had evolved to. When they came here, we was teaching about psychology, how the consciousness leave the body, the psyche, the central nervous system, deep stuff like that, how we lucid dream, life after death, stuff we're just starting to deal with in science today. Because the culture we in is a barbaric culture. It's a science based upon barbarianism. They have no clue. They do, but they can't allow the masses to know, because the institution of the church is the Roman Empire. It can't be in power if people ain't dumbed down. Knowledge is power. And this is how you take knowledge from the people, because you control people's action when they're asking you what happens when we die. If you lie to them, you can basically enslave that person. You can say, look, what happens when you die is X, Y, Z if you don't do this. And whatever you tell them to do to save them for whatever fear you put in them of what's going to happen when they die, you created a slave. You can make them do whatever you want them to do. And this is how the church was born. But when the pilgrims came to America, they saw the concept of the serpent on the cross already here. So when they said that Columbus thought he was in.
Nah, man, this make you want to put hands on somebody, yo. Somebody been lying. Yo, for real. If it wasn't like, yo, you have this laid out so beautiful and breaking it down, it's like, yo, they lied about mad stuff, yo. This is crazy. Yeah. So they the ops. So they just been running around lying all this time. I don't even know. I'm trying to focus on who I'm, because somebody's an op right now. Straight up.
Well,
it's like,
yeah. I hate to listen. I can't
stop. Don't stop me. I'm about to go out.
Listen, this is what I'm gonna say.
Right, go ahead.
The people that no one don't want to bring up, including myself, because we know the people who in charge, everyone's scared to talk about them.
Right.
And I ain't even got to even, because check it out.
I think I know what you're talking about.
I'll just put
it's the Dallas Cowboys fans. I got you.
Because look, they the ones brought us, because check this out, Killer Priest.
Right.
Once we go with the literal interpretation, that's saying that, because when you read the Bible, right, the concept of the promised land was originally, it meant that the promised land was promised to those who raise their kundalini, who work on themselves. Islam, I am self-law and master. It was about mastering yourself, not about conquering nobody else. You see what I'm saying? So the people who perfected themselves, the promised land was given to them, saying that they will be able to transcend this earth realm and experience a higher realm. And now the thing about the literal interpretation of the Bible, it turned the promised land to a real place on earth that's promised to a group of people that's got us going to war now. Because it's when the president put his hand on that Bible and he put that yarmulke on and he go to that wall, he's saying, listen, I'm here to fulfill the script. Because when people say, well, why is everything in the Bible coming true? They think because the Bible is such a magical book, but the world is a stage, and the script that they're carrying out is the Bible, the scripture.
Right. Oh, woo. Give him a ball. The scripture. Yeah. That was dope. That's dope right there. So bars.
They're literally fulfilling it. They treating the world like a state. They're making, because the people who revised the Bible, they made us literally interpret it so that the new children of God will be promised this land, which is a whole new world map they got drawn out with this kingdom of Zion that is created in Revelation. So this is when you get with the literal interpretation, even if you don't agree with the war that's happening on earth right now, your spiritual energy is consenting to it through the literal interpretation.
Right. Got you. Right. All right, you can continue.
There's only 4 more minutes of the video left.
4 more minutes of terror. And I don't mean that literally. I'm just saying he's dropping jewels. I don't want nobody to go out there to talk about somebody, the ops, and running out there. I want you to please be cool. I'm not telling. Got to do that though. Got to say that. I didn't mean that.
Your audience loves this.
Yeah. Council of Nicaea. Let's see you.
In India, this guy that they call Moses with the serpent staff, it's just representing their first dealing with this knowledge. But they had to evolve this native knowledge, this serpent knowledge, to a way that was suitable for barbarian culture, because barbarian cultures practice capitalism. So that's how you get the modern version of Jesus Christ, is basically a watered down version of an old world spiritual system, watered down to still allow for us to be barbarians, because barbarians taught that you can do evil. You can be evil to people as long as you clench your evil with a blood sacrifice. And the more evil you did, the bigger the sacrifice had to be. So this is why they had to come with Jesus as the ultimate blood sacrifice for everybody evil. But our ancestors didn't get into blood sacrifice. That was paganism. I'm trying to show you that you're not practicing the true Christianity. You practicing the barbarian form, which still allow for people to be evil, because it tells them, hey, it don't matter how bad you were. We had a blood sacrifice and your sins can be forgiven. Versus the old world version was saying that everything you doing wrong is coming from your own mental paradigm and everything starts in the mind. Self-mastery starts in the mind. Everything you doing wrong, you will pay for it yourself. The law of karma. That's the law of reciprocity as well. What goes around comes around. So we have a lot of conflicting teachings, but I just wanted to show you these images here so you can see the serpent wrapped around a cross right here in early America before the pilgrims showed up. So when they said that Moses learned from the Egyptians, wherever Moses would have went in the world, he would have saw the same system being practiced, just like Columbus when he went to India, then came to America. These were new barbaric cultures just discovering a civilized, advanced world that they weren't a part of. And no matter where they would have went, for the most part, they would have been introduced to this same system through a different culture, interpreting it their own way. The Bible even records this point of history. The pre-Babel earth was an interconnected world where all of these cultures had the same knowledge, same language and everything. Historians don't like to talk about that because all the data proved that was a real point in history, and no one knows how the whole world was connected before technology. So they know that everyone was connected, they just don't know how. So it's one of the biggest mysteries in history. But here go the simple answer. There was technology. See how simple that is? The simple answer is the whole world was connected because there was technology, and they can hide technology in the past by saying, well, we don't know how the pyramids were built. We don't know how everyone was connected. We don't know. And you don't know because you took away technology from the past. You told us they were primitive, but once we introduced the technology, this stuff ain't miraculous. How the pyramids was built ain't a big miracle and mystery. Aliens didn't do it. You don't have all of these mysteries in history when you introduce technology into the past. People had to have something to cut them stones. They wasn't rubbing rock against rock. That ain't hammer and chisel work. They've lied to us about the past, and because they've lied, there's so many mysteries in history.
That brought some ball right there. Man. Subscribe to that Patreon immediately. Yeah, no doubt. There's so much to unpack, man. You just came in here and roundhouse, flying kicks. I mean, there is so much to unpack, man. It's just like, hey, that's crazy, man. And then down is up is down, man. Yeah, up is down. Yeah, I totally agree with 99.9.9%. 100. So, man, it's like that was fire, bro. The serpent breakdown, that was crazy. I've been thinking about that.
Yeah, you were talking about that the other day with the serpent.
Yeah, it's deep.
It's not meant to be feared.
Yeah, you're going out there killing snakes, think you're doing something, and all you're doing is just harming nature, and it come back on you somehow. It's crazy. But that's because of religion got us all crazy like that.
Mm-hmm. It was interesting seeing the comparison with the sun and the moon. Uh-huh. I immediately thought of the Masonic sun and moon with the two pillars. I don't know if those are two pillars of ivory, but they're the two pillars. The sun and moon makes me think of left brain, right brain hemisphere.
Right, no doubt. Yeah, you saw the yin and yang. Yo, it's so many secrets. I tried to write down a lot of things, but you just covered so much, man. That I think that's really, really definitely needed. Like, because it gives you another insight, but it's so clear the way you put it. I'm glad you suggest just listen to this. The music, I love it when it's entertaining, not boring. At the same time, hold on, stop it. I'm sorry. And not boring, and makes sense. It makes sense, man. A lot of the things you were breaking it down makes you like question things. And I know you said something about Paul. I've been hearing a lot about Paul was a fake. You know what I'm saying? So basically, it seemed like most of the cats that was in there, like the biblical days, was just walking around taking stuff. Am I right about that? Or basically, or what they, was it, true, what's the word? Say borrowing it, or just, let's talk about Paul real quick. I want to get back into this. Yeah. You said, I heard a lot of people throwing dirt on Paul. You know anything about that, AD?
I do not.
Paul, Saul, they say, he was a fake. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. So, see, here go. If you want me to break that down, I can do it in a minute to 2 minutes.
Okay, yeah. Just you take the quicker the better. You know what I mean?
People think Paul was a disciple. Mm-hmm. And I think and now I'm not going to go scripture on this one, but I think that when Jesus predicted that Jesus would betray him, he said, some of you other ones going to betray me too. But see, people don't realize Paul, right, was worse than Judas. The reason Paul was worse than Judas is because, remember, Paul was killing Christians. Judas was never killing Christians. And Paul was killing Christians for the Roman Empire. And even when he so-called gave his life to Christ, he kept secretly writing to the Romans, writing to the ops, writing to the same people put Jesus to death. Now, look, Jesus said, right? Jesus said, like, think about that, KP. If I'm your homie, right? Think about this, KP. I'm killing your homies, KP. Now, look, I say I'm sorry, y'all. Forgive me. I'm with y'all.
Yeah.
But the people I was killing y'all for, I'm still contacting and writing them letters and stuff.
Well, he got more books than everybody, right?
I think so. See, because Paul was like a secret scribe working for the Roman Empire to help undermine what the real Jesus was teaching. And I'll give you an example right now, right? Jesus said, keep the law. In Matthew 5:17 through 19, Jesus said, I didn't come to abolish the law. I came to fulfill it. That means, see, people was complaining that the law was so hard to follow. Right? Think about this. If I'm a barbarian, then yes, it's going to be hard for me not to sleep with my brother's wife. If I'm a barbarian, yes, it's going to be hard for me not to steal from you, KP, not to take, because the barbarians didn't live by the law of karma. They live by survival of the fittest, may the strongest survive. That meant that the strongest people in the barbarian society overpowered the women, children, and elderly. But the thing is like this right here, right? Dang, where I was fit to go, but where we was going real quick, I'm tripping.
We was about to ride, but shout out to Reborn. I saw you out there. We not riding yet. We just talking, my brother. We just having a conversation. You come up here.
Oh yeah, I was finna Paul.
Go ahead.
My bad. I'm sorry. I just cut you off, KP. I'm sorry.
Oh no. I was just talking to one of my brothers out there. He represents the there you go, Reborn, Rebizzle. He didn't just write the Roman believers. He also wrote Greek, Hebrew, everyone else that surrendered their lives. No, Reborn, he's more like a Christian rapper. And he represented, but he was like, wrong. I just sent him in there. But I'm learning something here. You know what I'm saying? I'm just dabbling into it. Let me check out Paul a little bit. Go ahead, finish building, my brother.
Paul right now, yeah. And it's going to be 1 minute.
Okay.
Jesus said, I'm going to fulfill the law, not destroy it, because people was complaining it was hard to follow the law. And so Jesus came to be an example of how to fulfill the law, meaning how to follow the law. But see, the Roman church, they undermined Jesus by saying, well, Jesus came to die for your sins and pay the price for you. When Jesus didn't come to pay no price for you, you're going to pay your own price, because Jesus said he came to fulfill the law of karma. So, and he was coming to be the living example on how to be a good person so we can follow his ways, not so we can be corrupted and say he was a blood sacrifice. That's what the barbarians was doing, blood sacrifices. So that's why Paul was saying in Romans 6:14, you are not under the law, but under grace. But Jesus was saying you under the law. That's what Jesus was saying. Now listen, Paul was saying, it ain't even you following the law that's gonna get you in heaven, is on believing that Jesus died for your sins. That's what the papacy teaching. The papacy want us to believe in a blood human sacrifice, which is barbaric, right? Which is the literal interpretation that Jesus died for you versus your ego died and you was able to resurrect to heaven because your ego died on the cross, which is the four hemispheres of the brain, right? So, but check, which became St. Patty's Day, four-leaf clover and all that. But let me just see, Paul was teaching something totally different than Christ, y'all. And when you understand what Paul was, he was a implant. See, Jesus was saying, not everyone who says unto me, would, Lord, Lord, would enter the kingdom, but the one who does the will of my Father. When Jesus was talking about the will of the Father represent the law in the Old Testament with the law. But Paul was saying a person is justified by faith apart from the works of the law. How is Paul going against everything Jesus teaching? And you already working with the ops. You was already killing Christians to begin with.
Yeah, that. But
like
his name was Saul, then though. He right? Wasn't
yeah,
he? Saul?
and
He had
see,
two names.
and this is what happens, right? You will have a person that's on the op side, and they go by little such and such from such and such. Then when we let them in on this side, they gotta recreate this they self, right? Because guess what? Think about this. What does a FBI agent do when he infiltrate the mob? He go under an alias, under a different name.
Yeah, that could be. Yo, wait a minute, hold on, bro. How you change your name that quick?
You feel me?
Yeah.
You see?
And then who told
Now,
you to change it? You just. I mean, all right, I'm gonna dig into it a little bit, man.
Watch this. I'm gonna
okay.
show you Paul is the ops.
All right.
Jesus said this out his mouth in Matthew 19:9. Divorce is only allowed if sexual immortality take place. Then Paul added an additional exception. He said, if an unbelieving spouse leaves, the believer is not bound. Now, guess what we would teach today? And I think I've even heard Hebrews teach that. They say if first of all, you can't even get with a woman who is unequally yoked if she ain't already on my frequency. Now, I can't speak for Hebrews. Maybe y'all can and hop in real quick, somebody. But isn't it true for that? Because remember, the barbarians didn't care who they get with because they didn't have no spirituality. So they would be with all kind of foreign women like the slave master did to us. So that's why Paul thinking like a Roman. He's saying if an unbelieving spouse leaves, but our people ain't got no unbelieving spouses. If one of our men get with an unbelieving woman, he's going to make her a believer within a little bit of time. And I know Hebrews that'll assert themselves and they'll stand by that. Like if they just so happen, which I doubt they would even get with an unbeliever, but eventually she gonna have to come around to the pimping. I meant the doctrine. The doctrine.
Wow, man.
But I'm just saying though.
Nah, but now you talking that talk. No, I'm listening. But
yeah, hey, I think I got some more on Paul. He said, so I'm pulling these contradictions up. Y'all can do this on Chat GPT. Jesus spoke openly with women. Jesus was treating the women like how R&B singers treating them, letting them come up on stage and wash his feet, all that, right? Now, Paul was saying, I don't permit women to teach or be around me. Like he was more put the women in the background. But that might be a petty one, but it was one worth pointing out.
Nothing really petty about that. He did say that. Word.
See what I'm saying?
Say on that name. That was.
Hey, thanks for Chat GPT. Hey man, make sure y'all sub the KP show on my side. Because I just did this. I just told it, look, show me the contradictions between Paul and Jesus, because I used to have to go do this manually. But check this out, right? It say right here, Jesus said, blessed are you who are poor. And Paul said, if anyone is not willing to work, let him not eat. Now that one may be debated by some people, right? But
what he said?
Go a good one.
Right.
Jesus said circumcision is an everlasting covenant. And Paul said neither circumcision nor uncircumcision counts for anything. And the differences is in Genesis 17 and Galatians 5 and 6. But you know, these ain't the biggest contradictions, because I don't even agree.
But it's a little bit. It's a lot of them. Yeah, it's a little bit shaky now. I'm gonna start looking into that. That's kind of wild. And I heard a couple of people going in on him that he was but I never thought about that, the killing of the prophets, and then he switched sides after that. That's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because killer priests in real life coming up in a hood like yours or mine.
Yeah.
Like Paul would have been, you know what I'm saying?
He got though, right? Then what happened to him? How you go? I can't hear you. I think.
Good. My bad. I'm sorry.
Right.
Did he get got? But see, Peter got crucified upside down, right?
Yeah. What was it? Yeah. He caught one. They eventually all did. I think they had a little beef, right? I know there was a candy named Peter Paul.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, right?
That's crazy.
Hey, Charlie, that's kind of wild.
Because them was like the worst. They got it the worst. Yeah. The Romans tortured them.
Right. That's crazy, man. Wow. Man, I'm going to look into a lot of this stuff. This is crazy, but that presentation was by far incredible.
That's not on YouTube yet, right?
It's on my Facebook.
Got you.
Yeah,
I got two different Facebooks. Yeah.
Yeah, but we on to this Paul thing, and I've been hearing that, but there's a lot of wild stuff that I'm gonna start having to tap in a little bit more on that and see what what I'm saying, because he did have like 10 books.
Paul wrote more than any apostle. I think you said that. And I didn't even think of that till you said it, but you can't have the Pentecostal and Apostolic Church without Paul.
Right. Wow.
And that's crazy, because in the Pentecostal church, which I was in, they teach you got to speak in tongue to be saved, and they use Acts chapter 2 and something when the cloven tongues landed on them. But see, the black church today, when they speak in tongue, KP, like I know, it just be like, but see, in the Bible, everybody was speaking in a different language. So if you was speaking Yiddish, you would have been speaking Mandarin. And if you were speaking Mandarin, you would have started speaking Russian. It say in the Bible, every man was speaking every other man's language, and there was actually translators among them saying what every man was teaching. But see, in the church today, when they use that to speak in tongue, it ain't the same. It's basically just some random language they created, which would be what they said being possessed by foreign spirits, because what is a foreign spirit? It's a language that we can't interpret. There are scriptures in the Bible, right, that teach against speaking in tongues in a way without an interpreter. It says in the Bible, you shouldn't even speak in tongues if it ain't no interpreter present. I can get that scripture.
Right.
But the black church ain't really following the Bible. They following the papacy. I can prove it to anybody who's a literal interpreter.
Okay. All right. I mean, well, go ahead. Just do it. I mean, are you waiting for somebody to come up?
What I'm saying now, yeah,
Right.
everybody and their mama can start coming up on the stream now. Salutes, because my session pretty much done. So if it's people want to come up and all that, man, salutes to KP.
Oh man, bro, that was fire.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, exactly.
We got a super chat right here.
Oh yeah. We read some super chats. What it says.
If you can use your imagination to create and manifest vivid pictures in your head, your third eye is active. This is how you will know.
Should I invite Reborn up? Reborn, would you like to come up? Because I know you had a strong stance. He was like, wrong. Shout out to Reborn.
Man. Oh, man.
Well, see, now we're getting into the exoteric versus the esoteric, because when you introduce the esoteric to somebody who was brought up in the exoteric,
right,
that's like Neo, going into leaving the Matrix,
right?
Because your first thought will be to deny it all, like this can't be happening, like this isn't, get me out of here. You know what I mean? And that's when Cypher says he's gonna pop,
right? Because
that's a paradigm shift happening in the brain.
Right.
It's the same thing when you learn of the flat Earth too. It took me a year. I was denying it like crazy. I'm like, no, there's no flat. I was making fun of flat earthers. I'm like, this is not. There's no way this is happening. I'm a Star Wars fan.
Right.
I love Star Wars. My mind is.
Right.
My mind is like thinking, Star Wars is how our universe works. But when you looked into it and you studied it, and I'm like, yo, you end up going down a rabbit hole. That's kind of where the idea comes from. You go through this rabbit hole where you're falling, and it's like, man, there's no going back now. And it's like, I tell people, if you don't want to be a flat earther, do not look into it. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's just an example of a paradigm shift. Now, ever since then, my mind has been different, because now I see kind of how the world works, all the lies, you know what I mean? It's just another lie that we've been exposed to. I tell people to start looking into NASA first. But the point is, a paradigm shift of that regard can also happen when you go from the exoteric to the esoteric. Right. And you maybe the esoteric ain't for you. That's why I don't push it on people. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I got that's good. Yeah. I got family members, you know what I mean? Like they grew up in the exoteric and they believe a literal interpretation. It's not my job to go and tell. It's not on me to tell them about the esoteric if that's not meant for them. So that's why you seek the truth, and the truth will set you free. Right. If you don't seek it, then maybe that's not for you for this lifetime. Maybe another lifetime. But if you search for it, and you will find the truth, then that's a different type of free. Right. But that's why it's like it's a dangerous world, and
you don't have to come
waters.
up. I agree with you. You don't have to come up, brother, because that's the thing about debating or just having a conversation. When your emotions get the best of you, if you can't take it like emotionally and lock into yourself and be ready to explore, to hear different things, because you're gonna hear it every day. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You got the TV, and you got other. Go ahead.
Oh my! I'm sorry, KP. You made me. You just struck a chord with that, because it's like, I'm so patient with people with a different opinion. It took me a minute to get there. I ain't gonna lie, I was horrible. I'm there now. Right. But the thing is, when you literally interpret in the Bible, it literally teaches you to defend and protect the faith. Like, they're programmed to automatically do that. So, I'm understanding and patient with them.
Right. That's why I called him up. No, I just suggested maybe he would like to come up, but you don't have to come up. He's a cool.
The best message from my perspective that you're going to get from the Bible is the kingdom of heaven is within you. So it's talking about looking inward. Do you know what I mean? All the answers are inside.
Right.
And the Bible's talking a lot about, meditation, ultimately,
you broke it down.
when you understand syncretism and all the other religions and philosophies, they're all kind of like, they're all one in a way. If you look at all the patterns happening,
Right.
it's talking about meditation, looking within. You know what I mean? Going to the right hand of God, which is the right hemisphere of the brain.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Because that takes you closer into the pineal.
Yeah, brother.
That's facts.
Sanchez, real quick. No, you want to add on?
Yeah, because he hit it like that's why when we say do what's right, the direction of right is dealing with the right brain and doing what's intuitive versus instinctive.
Right.
So when a person say you left out or you was left out of this or leave it out, left is really the past tense of leave, which is how we left Eden in the first place. Just like I was saying, Killer Priest, wasn't no Western world in the beginning, and wasn't no left brain in the beginning. The Western world formed with our left brain and our fall from Eden, with that side of us being an instinctive, literal interpretation. You know what I'm saying? And I'll fall back right there. That may be too deep.
I love it.
Nah, you just got to get ready for it. What's the old saying? When a student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I go. Yeah, exactly.
You better be
When
ready.
they're ready, they
Ready for that teacher.
Yeah. When the person is ready, they step up. It just takes time. Would you say that the Hindu has it right, and most of the ancient nations you were talking about that were practicing like Quetzalcoatl, and you're saying that they had it right? That was the original before. I'm sorry, the words you used, but before the Christian Western, I would say Western instead of just Christian, right, or Catholic or whatever, came in and started dabbling in it. Because this is what it seems like they dabbled in a whole bunch of stuff and they didn't really understand the concept of it and start dabbling, but they had it the right way. Would you say that?
Well, the thing about them dabbling in it, they tell the history of themselves. They say they settled with the Indians and they learned the ways of the Indians. They wrote it. They told the truth. They said Moses learned in the way of the Egyptian.
Right.
Now the Egyptian and the Indian was teaching the exact same thing. What they calling the Egyptian and the Indian, those terms wouldn't have existed back then. It would have all been called Tartaria. Right.
Ooh,
let me just show you.
Whoa, dropping it. Go ahead. Tartarian. Go ahead.
You know what? You researched a little bit about Tartaria?
A tiny bit, but you can go in and I've heard it dabbling in through the pockets of conversations here and there. But
all right. So actually, Tartaria is near past civilization that was deleted by the Roman Empire scribes. The Roman Empire scribes revised the Bible under pseudonyms. Those pseudonyms were Matthew, Mark, Luke, Paul, because if they didn't revise this stuff under pseudonyms, the moment we wake up, we'll have real families to trace this deception back to. You get what I'm saying? So the thing about it is when they came here, they saw complex infrastructures with energy being pulled from the ether to create electricity. Like I was saying in the last video, they act like they don't know how the pyramids was built because they took technology from our ancestors. But the truth is that when the barbarians came to our land, they was digging holes in the ground to poop in them. And we was like an advanced creature that was outliving them by hundreds of, it was journals written that these people were saying how they landed in the land of the gods, as they called it. So yeah, we were seen as gods by these barbarians at some point. That's why they decided to settle with us and learn from us, like what Moses did in Egypt. And everything that the Egyptians learned, I can show you here. For example, if you look at the Pharaoh right here, they turned this into Jesus being pierced in his sides. They turned that to Moses
Oh, yeah, I thought you showed the picture.
Well, yeah, I think I did show this. Well, I don't know if y'all.
Hold on, I'm bringing your screen share on screen. Hold on a second. Okay, here it comes.
So the whole thing is like, if I share this image with you right here, boom, this image, this stuff today we call New Age awakening. Here we the stuff we call New Age, it ain't New Age, it's old stuff coming back in Aquarius. It's just that it's coming back in a time where they've created a new concept of ancient. So the ancient world that people connecting to is the literal interpretation of the Bible, KP. It starts with a snake in the garden and two folks in Eden. But see, that ain't no literal. The people that wrote that, they wrote that during a time where the earth was already millions of years rich with people and generations. So when we read in the beginning in the Bible, it ain't talking about, right, the beginning of the earth. It's talking about your individual beginning. And I'll show you a quick example that can do this real quick. Because Genesis is genetics. It's when children say, Mama, Daddy, how did I get here, right? They tell them the story of the Big Bang. Now, here is just a brief little artwork to show us what the Big Bang is right here. It's just an explosion of light. Now, just peep game, right? Let's take this one, for example. Here go the Big Bang from science. Now, you take this and you compare this to this. And you can see the Big Bang is when your conscious light came on. See, your energy that making you can't be created or destroyed. It always been there. It ain't no beginning or end to it. The beginning start when it became conscious. And that consciousness is represented by an explosion of light. And all those angles of light is leading from what they call Eden, which is the base reality in the middle of the universe. And all these little lines that's coming from that middle point, those are parallel realities creating the multiverse.
Science.
So when we dream, we're literally going into these other realities or rays of light, which this life you living right here is just one of these lines of light too, coming from the central point. Leaving the simulation is us going to the middle point and leaving all these lines of light. Let's say there's 7 lines of light. There's 7 life cycles. And at the end of each of those, the energy shift back to the middle self. And it leaves through that point. But right here,
this is like a rainbow.
Yeah, because listen, there's 7 primary colors, you see, and that's what's making the Saturn matrix. Because what's happening is the Earth is expressing itself in 7 alternative versions, and the Earth got to do that because the law of probability that exists. That means that the multiverse is the universe acting out all probabilities at one time. Because if the universe don't act out all probabilities at one time, like the ancestor said, when that happens, that means that the past, present, and future was already created, and we just shifting in between all of them, which is why we have deja vu. You can't remember something. Yeah, you can't remember something that ain't happened yet. So that deja vu is us remembering the future that already played out, which is meaning that the Mayan knew what they was talking about, you know. That's proof that the ancients were no dummies. So the ancients was saying that the base reality, which is Eden, in order for it to fulfill the law of probability, think about this, Killer Priest. They said that color affect our mood. So if I put you in a red room versus a blue room, you will feel different, right? If I put you in a red room with all red walls, your neural activity will show more stress than if I put you like in a pink or a blue or green room. Because you see what I'm saying? So the thing is, if you look at the way that the universe made, which is I'm about to show y'all this real quick, Killer Priest. Now, I got an image, right?
All right.
What the universe did, right? The universe said, I gotta create everyone's best version. So the universe said, look, based upon the 7 colors that exist in the universe, the 7 primary colors, which is each chakra, the universe said, I'm gonna manifest a version of you in each earth. Each earth gonna be the same, but it's gonna be a different color. That's what's creating the multiverse. So check this out, KP. These alternative parallel realities, they all look like this same earth. But what's making them different is there's a different version of us and a different scenario playing out. And the reason for that is because if I put the same killer priest in a bunch of different color rooms, you will have a different attitude and demeanor based upon how the color is influencing you. So the ancestors was saying each of these alternative realities is their own frequency bandwidth called, which is why we got 7 Van Allen belts, right? Now the people who say they can't get through the 7 Van Allen belts, it's because they don't got a soul. They are non-player characters that was already in the simulation before we got here. So we the only ones that can get through the 7 Van Allen belts, which is what space program is stuck at, because they line that the space program is the heaven program and how to leave this damn Truman Show simulation Earth. Right?
Give me, all right, go ahead. I was thinking, well, stained glass, right? It's always in all the churches, the cathedrals and stuff. Does that have something to do with the rays of light that's coming through? Or are they trying to take that from the for the essence, like what you're speaking on? Would you say that the stained?
The crazy thing about the stained glass and the churches was never buildings that we went in to worship and sing songs to some sky daddy.
Right.
These churches were the first energy plants on earth that would have created real electricity that powered our cities with free energy. Let me explain, right? So there were moats around these old cathedrals. The water was charged electrically through the pipe organs and all that. If you look at cymatics, right, and you research the work with the Japanese professor Emoto, it's crazy that this professor name is Emoto, because he teaches about emotions and emoticon. Like his emoto is literally the root word of emotion. But the thing about it is this right here, right? Energy and motion. The thing about it is, like, the churches, remember now, in the church, they talk about this holy water that if you drink it, it'll heal you. Now, the thing about it is the organ ain't really some instrument that we play just to shout and do all that stupid stuff. The organ was this gonna sound crazy. I didn't even want to say it. It's gonna sound crazy, but I gotta go ahead and say it. So basically, people, the reason that the hospital got the cross symbol and the reason our ancestors didn't have hospitals, but they had churches, is because the church wasn't a building of praise. It was literally a place where people went to get healed with cymatics. So today in the church, Killer Priest, they said, let me pray for you that you can get healed. But people don't get healed. In the old world, when the pilgrims showed up, we was living to be hundreds of years old. And guess what? People weren't getting sick in the old world because there was so much vibration, high vibrations in the atmosphere, in the water. We had cymatically created heaven on earth with sound, because everything start from the sound level for it even end up physical. You know what I'm saying? Which is why the whole thing about speaking stuff into existence. But the crazy thing is, like, the choir and the musicians were your first doctors or healers, because we didn't have surgery tools and pills that you take. If you were sick, you went to the church, and folks literally knew what frequencies and based on your chakras and all that. Let me go to this. Let me go back to this science right here. All of these 7 chakras is synced to a 7, one of the 7 musical notes on the scale. Is 7 musical notes, right? It's 7 primary organs in the body. So wherever that disease at, all you do is play the song that's calibrated to that particular frequency where the disease at in your body, and there are certain tones and frequencies that bacteria and viruses can't survive at. So when you went into church, they would prescribe you a song and a cup of holy water, and you would be healed. It wasn't no pills and stuff. Your prescription was literally, hey, listen to these 2 choir songs and drink from the water of the moat, or because all of these churches had a body of water around them. That's because the molecular structure of water changes with sound. Even if you get 2 glasses of water and speak hate to one of them and love to the other one, you can see this is true. So this water around the church was so electrically charged, it was literally holy water. If you drunk from it, there was nothing in your body that can survive this water once it go, and then the music and all that. Like basically we was healing ourselves with bathhouses, music, and drinking water. And if you think about it, a person gets sick, they tell them go to sleep, drink a lot of liquids, and guess what? Don't stress. So what is a perfect environment? Let me give you some peaceful music, some good highly charged water, and in the church, you just sit, hit rest. That's a hospital. That's why I had the cross symbol. And they changed that because how you gonna make money if people living forever? How your medical industry gonna capitalize off sickness? Remember now, the pilgrims made us sick with smallpox and all that stuff. They've introduced stuff in our bodies that was circumventing the highly advanced utopias we was building with our, even like I'm saying, even though we was that advanced, we still failed because the enemy had some we didn't have. He was able to sit among us for generations and study our ways and see our weakness and become one of us. And you read that with the pilgrims coming among the Indian. So he was able to,
Right.
But if y'all got this image right here is showing you why Christ is pierced in his. Yeah, this image is showing you why Christ is pierced in his sides.
The red?
Because, well, let me show you something real quick. This is very important, guys. Check this out.
You'll see that spectrum in the crystal. It's also where you get Christ. Crystal.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, salutes to that,
Heavy.
man. That's big facts.
That's heavy.
I'm gonna just pull this up and be quick here. There's a concept called the man of sin. Let me see if I can pull this up. See if I can pull this up quick. All right, let me find it on my hard drive real quick. I got it real quick. It ain't gonna take no time.
Yeah, the medical industry thrives on a quote that is, a patient cured is a customer lost.
That's hard.
Damn.
Get yourself a bomb for that one.
For real, man.
That's hard.
That sums it up. Here
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
See, this is Jesus before Jesus. Because there go your crown of thorns and there go your piercing in all the sides. Now, a person may be wondering, what am I showing you?
No, I'm looking at his legs.
Yeah, but see, this right here, this is Vatican teachings before the story of some dude dying on the cross. So
Really?
what was the old Vatican teaching right here? I'm going to show you right now. The old Vatican was teaching this. Look, this showing what I'm proving is that the original Vatican was teaching about the 7 chakras and the energy vortexes in the body, which later became, check this out, acupuncture. Listen, each one of these spots that you see on this body is a energy vortex in the body that they use in modern acupuncture for healing, which is why all this was linked to healing too. This ain't no just no pseudo stuff, what they call it. This real stuff. You can look up patents on this with the CIA. So they know about these 7 energy points.
Would you say a voodoo doll too?
Yeah, there you go. The voodoo doll as well. That's what it is. Because look, each of these little points is a cosmic ley line that is leading to one of your parallel versions that exists in one of the 7 wandering stars. So this is connecting you to all of your 7 other selves that exist in Venus, Mercury. Those are stargates into parallel realities. So look, when we dream, Killer Priest,
right,
our consciousness leave this body and it goes through point A, point B, point C. But see, all of them points, right? Let me show you what them is right quick. This gonna give you the aha moment. Each of them points on that man, on that voodoo doll, it leads to one of these stargates on the tree that leads him out of his body into another one of his bodies that's living in another world. So, Killer Priest, when we dreaming, when we dream, right, the moment we go to sleep, our consciousness shift from the dude in the bed to the dude in the dream. And the moment that happened, we don't even know that the dude in the bed exists no more. Because Killer Priest, you feel me? If I walk up to you in a dream and say, hey, Killer Priest, you just fell asleep on our live stream and you dreaming right now, you'll say, boy, get your crazy butt out my face. What you talking about?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
If I tell you, hey, man, look up at all of them stars, it's your world. We've heard that so much, hey, Sanchez, it's your world, brother. No, literally, it's your world. If I walk up you in a dream, where are you? You in your own sleeping body. So that's what I was saying. Like, that's where we are now. And our real self is in the middle of the universe at Eden. It's up here in Asgard. It fell down here into the mirror matrix because check this out, Killer Priest. Once we fell onto Midgard right here, you see my mouse pointer? Can you see it?
Yeah, I see it. What's Asgard? All right, we're gonna
Asgard
get
is
back
to
the
heaven.
base reality. That's heaven. That's Eden. That's where Adam and Eve was before the fall.
Okay.
Ain't no aging, ain't no sickness, none of that. Because what happened was in our original Earth, KP, we created in our original Earth, right? We created computer simulations and uploaded into them with brain computer interfaces.
Right.
That's what the fall was. So once we entered the copied versions of Earth, anything you copy from the original ain't gonna be perfect like the original. That's like if I let you hear my masters versus oppressing.
Right.
But the thing is this right here. Once we fell into Midgard right here, the thing about Midgard is surrounded by all these different these are like mirrors, right? And once you standing in Midgard, it's like you in a damn glass house or a mirror house, because now your reflection is gonna be reflected in all of these universes. They're like mirrors. And in each mirror is given its own interpretation of you. Just like if I walk in a glass house with you, each version of you being projected around the one in the middle of the glass house is gonna give its own skewed angular interpretation of you, but none of them gonna be your real version. They're like your shadow, right? Your shadow ain't a good example of who you are because it's lacking a lot of information and details. It's just a vague little simple, it's missing a lot. You feel me?
It's an aspect of ourselves.
Yeah. So, and that's what this is right here. So when we dream, we leave Midgard, and because we're connected to all of these other realms like we see here, we can go and hop into those other dreams. But the thing is this, when we get there, we forget that all about this place. We don't even know it exists. And the reason for that is because the version of you in that alternative reality, remember, it had its own childhood. It had its own teenage years. It recorded a different history than the version of you here. So once your consciousness shift, what you think of as real shift. That's why, like I said, KP, if I go to you in a dream, I can't tell you that you dreaming. You ain't gonna believe me, because this is what the central nervous system does when it shifts realities.
The world of ice and fog and mist.
And what this basically is, the Nordic people telling you how.
Oh, this Nordic. I was about to ask you, was was Nordic? Okay.
Yeah. Because they was part of Tartaria too.
Okay.
And what they teaching right here is how each of these worlds got its own frequency.
It's crazy.
To influence our energy. And I'll show you this another way that's gonna really make y'all. I know your audience, KP. That's why I said
they're in there, they ready.
And when you see Thor, the movie too, like Thor is going to Asgard. So they're referring to these same concepts in movies.
Who's Thor representing?
Thor is Jupiter.
Okay.
He's Jupiter, god of thunder.
Okay, all right. You got that.
Cool, right? It's mythology.
Damn, now you hit it right on the nail.
Nordic mythology, yeah.
It was Thor. Yeah, exactly, with the hammer. Yeah, I got you.
And see, the whole thing about Thor with the hammer, that's Jesus with the key. The hammer is the key.
That's what I was waiting on. What?
Yeah, because Thor ain't nothing but when we say Thor is just another personification
I got it right
of our chi energy. Yeah. Just another personification of our chi energy. I'm gonna show you what NASA did, right? See, KPC. When they teach us about space AD, right? What they do, they give us stuff like this. And they say, well, these are all the galaxies that's just floating out there in the darkness, just with no life on them. And what they hiding is the fact that this is what's really out there, y'all. Now, what this is cymatics. Each of these, right, is water in a bucket. And when you place certain frequencies, the pattern on the water surface make these beautiful shapes, just like snowflakes. Tesla said, if you want to understand the universe, think in terms of sound and vibration, which is cymatics, which is why when you read the Bible, it's God is speaking everything into existence with word, because in the beginning was what? The word. Our entire universe is a result of waters being vibrated. And I'll show you what I mean right here. Here go the earth right here. Flat earth shit, right? Now here go the earth. If you look at our earth, right, there are several earths that look just like this one. But check this out. Hold on. I'm gonna have to get a copy of this, Killer Priest, because my audio on my side was. But look, there's several earths that look like this one, and it looked like a spider web. The ancient Jamaican people had a god called Anansi the spider, and people tried to make it like the Jamaicans are dummies who worship some spider god. But the Jamaicans were teaching the Big Bang and what the flat earth was about before the barbarians, and they was using a spider deity because they know about the magnetic ley lines of the earth right here. So the Jamaican, they made our ancestors appear to be dumb,
right,
by taking all their mythologies literally.
The maroon, right? The maroon.
You feel me? So if you look at the earth right here and look at this, our earth is one of these. It's basically everything in here. When they say water, that's ether. Ether is like Play-Doh. It's basically the undefined form of light. It's like me giving you a glob of Play-Doh or a bucket of water, right? And I say, okay, turn this water to something beautiful. So you play a sound or a frequency, and now the surface of the water is disturbed and it becomes a beautiful, defined, sacred geometrical shape like the earth. So it's like turning a ball of Play-Doh into something that's defined. But the ball of Play-Doh itself represents infinity, or the 0 point in the middle before you said anything and vibrated the waters. Because once you vibrated the waters, the vibration, just like a ripple effect, start from the center outward, which is the Big Bang, and it create this cymatic effect.
I was just looking at the sound. Go ahead.
Yeah, my bad. So
no, it's not you. It's AD. Go ahead.
Yeah, man.
That's
so
fire, though. Yeah, go ahead.
It's telling us the same knowledge. Like all of the magnetic ley lines go back to the center, just like with here, just like with here, just like with here. All of these magnetic ley lines go back to you. So this is why the ancient flat earth people said we're in the middle of the universe, because the real you is at the North Pole sleep.
Did the ancient Egyptian teach flat earth?
That's what Nut and Gab is. Can't nobody make Nut and Gab a solar system. They can't do it. I'll debate anybody on it. We can debate that right now. And listen, I don't turn down no intellectual phase. And I don't care how if a person in their feelings, if they want to, I'm gonna maintain my energy and show you. Here's what the Egyptians taught right here, that we are enclosed. Listen, we are up under the stars inside of a layered universe with different shelves and layers on it. Right here. Look at that. That's flat earth. That's flat earth right there.
Right.
Can't nobody turn this, just like when I debated Jabari Osazi. I mopped the flow with him, man. He's a comedic priest, right, KP? But see, the thing about Jabari Osazi,
right?
I said, you know what I'm going to do with him? He's a comedic priest.
All
so
right.
I'm going to show the people how in this debate, I'm actually defending Nut and Gab, and he's defending the modern globe earth that the deceivers gave us. Because who gave us the globe earth? Freemasons, Galileo, Isaac Newton, and all them. Them wasn't no scientists, they were Masons. How come everything we know about our reality come from Freemasons? Right? Before the Freemasons gave us this globe chaotic model. Yeah. Because there were scientists during the time of Newton and all them, but we chose to take the knowledge of Masons, some Masons sitting under a tree and an apple fell on them. But the thing is this right here. I think it fell on his head and made him stupid, in my opinion.
It might have been a pumpkin.
A pumpkin fell on his dead head for sure. And broke his neck, made him stupid.
Yeah,
that couldn't. Yeah, because an apple wouldn't have done the damage. Facts. So
is that Galileo you talking about? Which one?
That's
Which one of them? Yeah. One of them ate mercury and died. Tried to turn it to gold or something. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. You're right, man.
Yeah,
that was Galileo, I think.
Yeah.
You know what, KP? What the hell is Galileo and them? Like, what's Galileo's last name?
I don't even know, bro. I just knew he had white hair, and he's old man, old. You know what I'm saying? They paint him with the pictures. None of them
folks existed. What you think, KP?
You might be on to something. Give him a bomb for that. Do we know for a fact the guy? I don't know. I've never seen baby pictures of him. I've never seen. I mean, you got a picture of Galileo? AD, you can pull up.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop my share. Now we finna get it in because Plato ain't got no last name either.
I know. Exactly, man. Yeah, and then they be trying to talk about that mix. I think one of them killed himself trying to prove something. You know, and end up dying.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, gold turn into mercury or something like that.
He said it was lead or mercury poison. Yeah. Which one was it in my chat room, y'all? Put it in the chat.
Yeah.
Shout out to KP, man, and Aiden, man. This is a classic.
That's a good one right here.
This is good. No, for real. And then one person come up, and then the next person, he makes the astrologer or whatever came before him look stupid. because his distance, and then another guy come Galileo, and then we have Isaac Newton, right? He one of them too. So what happens to the information when the other dude knocks them out of the baby? When they knocked them out of the picture. I saw somebody say baby picture. Shout out to y'all. What happens to the information?
It's like the Ptolemies come to Egypt.
Right.
And the Ptolemies, they're saying Nut and Gab.
Right.
And the Egyptians is teaching them, okay, we're in a simulation, is layered, and in order for you to get out, you got to basically behave yourself. So the Ptolemies is like, man, that may be true, but that don't fit the way we run our society. We are people of world conquest. Right. We can't be teaching our people to behave themselves if we want to create goons to help us go invade the earth.
Right. Exactly.
So the Ptolemies started changing that whole Nut and Gab system into the globe to say, we ain't in no intelligent design. Creationism is a lie. It's just a big bang. It ain't nothing up there to look forward to. Ain't nothing out there. We the only life in the universe. Versus, hey, what's out there is stargates that lead to parallel realities. Yeah. And these parallel realities lead to the highest reality out the earth if you battle yourself. So that's part of getting rid of the law of us being good people, because they can't really create a capitalistic system if we all practicing that old version.
Right. That's true. I'm starting to think that Galileo never existed. Now I'm thinking like, you know what I'm saying? Never saw no pictures or nothing. What type of cameras they had back then anyway? They had the little light bulb, right? Yeah. And you just flash it. You know what I'm saying? A couple of them got some pictures, but nah, you might be on to something, man. Word, give you a bar for that.
Them is pseudonyms.
Woo! You might, yeah, she on it. I know there's more than one Shakespeare. There was somebody told me one of them was a lady. For real. You Plato, never know what they be Plato?
Plato got a monopoly on Atlantis. If you look at Atlantis, it's this city that's multi-layered like the flat earth model that I just showed you.
Right.
And it's like, okay, all of these ancient people were saying we're in a multi-layered system, and they just deleted all that with the Plato narrative of. Let me show you something real quick, Killer Priest, because this shit is very important, man. Yeah. Watch this. It ain't gonna take but 30 seconds or two. Yep. Watch this real quick. The Atlantis story is about a sunken city. And when we read the story of Noah, we hear a flood. Yeah. What they're not telling us is that the concept of the sunken city is that our entire universe is up under ethereal waters, or what they call primordial waters. I'm going to show you. Right here. Let me zoom in on it. It's 7 realities. And guess what? Each of these realities you exist in. Guess what this is based on? Watch this, KP. Because this where the flat earth stuff come in. Watch this. All of this is based on the law of density. Watch this. All of the 7 ethers are stacked on each other according to which one is heavier than the other one. So when it comes to these 7 ethers right here that's stacked up, it's emotional energy. So like sadness, pain, anger, jealousy, all that is what we call heavy emotional energy. That exists on these lower realms. That would be like the honey. It's a heavy liquid. But see, heavy, light is
you got
like
murk right
higher.
there too. Murk. I see that's in the middle.
Okay, yeah. Let me see where it is real quick. Where it is.
Canned milk, no milk.
Yeah, milk. He put the ER on it like the country folks do.
Right.
Hey, that's crazy, man.
Right. No packet. Right. Ping
Bro,
pong.
I know y'all don't talk like that on the East Coast though.
No, in the South. Why people from the South? Yeah. I was just
man,
doing what was his name? Boosie. It was one of them was good. The canned milk. You ain't see that yet?
Yeah. No, I ain't see that. But when I heard it, I said he impersonating some South stuff. Sound like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Bro, I gotta look at that. But it's crazy that you say you got folks in the South, because I gotta come back on here to clear up the FBA division one day too, man.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Come on through. Yeah, exactly.
And,
What's going on with the FBA?
What real quick, right? And glad you asked. You heard the word tether before. You right now you got black folks saying, look, we delineating. We're identifying as foundational Black Americans versus Africans.
Right. What's going on?
Let me stop the screen share and put my face on the screen. People might join the call when they hear this one. But
it's always something. Go ahead.
Hey, shout out to Tariq Nasheed. Like, the whole thing, it's a delineation movement. So Black people in America is saying, look, we ain't Africans.
Right.
We're Black Americans. And we're a separate group than Africans. Now, prior to this, we've just been all identifying with
North
the
Central.
diaspora.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So,
I know it's tropical, west. Was it west, east, north? Go ahead.
Definitely gonna be West Africa. Definitely gonna be West Africa.
Right. More tropical.
So, yeah, because FBA mainly acknowledged the slave trade, which means we would have came from West Africa.
Right.
So people, to what Tariq is saying, we've been over here so long, we're no longer African. Africans is saying that too. But within FBA, you got people that's saying most of us didn't even come over here on slave ships, and we was never Africans to begin with, because they got books called Here Before Columbus. The Olmec statues older than any slave trade. The out of Africa theory might be like another flat earth situation where that's another lie we got to unravel.
Yeah, we gotta we gotta come back on that one. Yeah, we want to talk about honesty. This is too heavy. You just dropped that. That's a major bomb. Damn, that's crazy. So wait a minute. That's a lot to wrap my head around right there. Word. There's always something, man. Something always going down. So now I'm not going to tease it because I'm about to ask you, and then we'd get to the whole conversation on that. I'll ask you that next time because I got to get ready to get out of here soon. Okay. You know what I'm saying? It's a good convo.
Man, this so far, man. Time fly when you're having fun.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely come out. I've been doing a lot of work. I have to get up out of here soon, but let me look at the time. I could have been here another 2 hours, man, but
for real.
I want to thank
so much we could go on, like the outer realms, outside the wall.
Outside what wall?
Man.
Outside the wall, what's behind the ice wall.
Oh, that behind the ice wall.
That's one thing.
That's the next 180. Let's set it up for the next one.
But he was also starting to talk about the 7 layers above our firmament, the 7 heavens going up too.
I got 7 minutes.
Ooh, wow, that's like symbolic, bro. That's symbolic. Watch this, right? Let's talk about for them 7 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about what's beyond the ice walls. Now, this, a lot of flat earthers, they don't like me for teaching this. Now, I'm like the black sheep of flat earth, right?
Right.
Because
the flat sheep.
Flat power is a different movement than all the other flat. We have our own thing, flat power. But the whole thing about it is like most flat earthers would tell you, you can go to these other lands, but they stopping you. Guess what I'm teaching? I'm saying you can't go to them other lands because you already there. It's like the version of you that sleep in the bed trying to meet up with the version of you in a dream. So these are the layers of the multiverse right here, like an onion cut open. And the reason each one of them got their own sun and moon, because they all record in their own time. When the sun and moon was born in the middle universe, its reflection was refracted outward in all these other universes, just like yours. We're all in a mirror house. That's why I say, as above, so below, because the middle realm is the highest one. When you go out, you're going down. When you go in the middle, you're going up. It's like we're looking at a step pyramid from a top-down view.
It's like a wedding cake.
Yes. So when we go to sleep, our consciousness go beyond the ice wall, and it goes into our other versions that's already in them other lands out there. You can't physically go to those other lands. You got to shift your consciousness to them. And the
Now,
crazy
who said
thing,
that you could go? Yeah, who said
a lot of flat earthers who don't go as deep as Flat Power do, like with TikTok, Facebook, the popular narrative,
right?
it's physically, everybody is stuck into this physical matrix, like with physics.
Right.
They don't know we're in a holographic simulation, ain't none physical. Life is a digital program. Because check this out, KP.
Right.
Where did the creator get wood from to make trees and water from to make oceans if then nothing exists? How do you get something from nothing? I can show you how you do it right now. Close your eyes, go to the darkness, and think of an ocean and a forest. Boom, there go your wood and water, but it's coming from thought. So that's why in the Bible, let there be light. It starts from light first, then the light turns into water, wood, because it's holographic. Holography is when light is shaped into different things. Like you can have a holographic elephant. That's literally our reality.
Frequency.
Yeah.
And that's what, and the light is like, it's got a red light, a blue light, a green light, a purple light. And it's basically when the universe said, let there be light, it created a different version of Earth in each different color of light, which is like Saturn rings, the 7 colors in the, because when you say solar system, the C is the S, it's the color system. Color, solar, like ceiling, color system.
Yeah, see, and that's where we get the chakra colors, right? The crown chakra.
There they go, right? Yep, there they go, right there.
And it looks like the hood of a serpent.
Yeah, this is why the pharaoh had the hat on with the serpent in the middle of it with the stripes around it. This blue line would be the serpent on the Uranus, splitting right in the middle, and then you got your stripes around it. He was showing you that the earth, the universe, is the central nervous system, or the brain, the mind, the spinal cord, all that. We're in our own higher sleeping self. God went to sleep, man became awake.
Damn.
And this is and look, they call this a menorah. What this is the word menorah say? The aura of man, man's aura. If you look at our aura,
yeah, I see that. It's beautiful right there. Yeah, I see that.
Because our aura got 7 layers, and they all just like this menorah.
Yeah. I did that one. I got an acronym for the book of Nahum.
I've heard of the book of Nahum, but never read it.
Yeah, pull it up. Hey, AD, pull up the name.
He's got it right there because he's got screen share.
Oh, yeah, you do it. Now, if you look at Nahum, you'll see the word human.
Ooh. Dang. Bro.
Priest dropping jewels.
Hold up now. Hey, what Killer Priest, and you know what's crazy, man? KP already been up probably, and I know he probably already been up on this. And he's sitting back like a sage, the wise sage, like okay, he's coming there. Like, hey man, listen, bro, that's fine. And I'm gonna tell you something. There's another monkey that they got in Hindu called Hanuman or something. His name can be rearranged.
Yes. Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Man, I can't wait to come back, bro. I know
man,
you gotta go.
Yeah, man.
Shout
Come
out
on.
to your people. Tell them this what they got to look forward to for 2026, man. It's
yeah,
crazy.
that presentation was fire.
You can
man.
keep going on that because every color of the frequency he showed in the chakras is a different hue.
Wow.
Come on.
And it's
Hue man with the
hue
heat
of man.
Wow.
Yes.
Crazy.
You can keep going. It's on and on.
Yes,
We won't never stop, man. We got to do it at some point.
Because syncretism goes on and on.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stop right there, man.
That's the magic word right there. You said syncretism.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people don't know into or look into. It's not just esoteric studies. It's syncretism.
This sync. We sync.
That's the key.
Yeah.
We locked in, man. Yo, this right here has been one for the archives. We're going to put this up in our private collection. But for the people, this is going to be one of those ones that's archive collection, top shows, man. Brother Sanchez, man, you hands down was incredible, brother. That presentation you did, that should be shown. I say, man, that need to be shown everywhere, man. We never get into the Serpent, but you dropped so much jewels in there, and it's out there now, right? Is it on Facebook? We want to share it too.
Yeah,
you know that's great.
Facebook.
I think that's an evolution. Yeah, you kind of like evolution of how to.
This
do
was
things.
like a YouTube premiere, technically.
Yeah, that's a good way because it's kind of like that's a different step of how you do it. That and with the music, just push it out like that. That's kind of dope. So that's gonna go around, man. We got to talk. Definitely.
And this is just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
Y'all gotta go and follow.
My bad, AD. I'm sorry, bro.
No, I was just saying y'all gotta follow Bro Sanchez because this is just you scratching the surface. That's all.
Oh yeah. Hey, look, Killer AD. If y'all need like the original versions, just the video file of some of this stuff to do your own thing with or dissect, holla at me, man. And you can even let people who disagree with it mess with it. See, I ain't scared. I want people to don't believe me. Go research it on your own. Shout out to
Phoebe Quinal. She didn't hit me. She would have definitely came up. But she didn't hit me this time. But Naphtali, right?
Listen, Naphtali is beautiful. I can't debate her.
Yeah.
So it's hard to debate her. So but the thing is,
people say that, right? She like she coming nice, but then she throw her bombs and stuff like that. Shout out to Quinoff. I see you in the building, brother. Yeah. She probably was looking to. She told me right now it's deep. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut you off, my brother. Go ahead.
No. I was just saying that in the future, I ain't debate nobody. We just having steel sharpened steel.
There you go.
And just exchanges.
Right.
Unless y'all just want it to be a debate, then hey, we gotta do accept the fade.
All right.
But, yeah.
I see you in the building. No doubt. That's fire, man. That's how you do it, man.
Shout out to Naphtali.
Reasoning. Well, you already know. To Hootie's in the wing, you know what I'm saying? That's the Serpent style. They had a conversation, but I have to yeah, exactly. So I have to get out of here soon. We do the music thing. You want to stick around for that? I mean, you could. If not, you could go. We go because how many we got? Please.
Just one so far.
Good, man. Let's just go. Or we'll save that for another time.
It's up to you.
Yeah. Because I got to get up out of here.
Yeah, we can push it to next Thursday.
Yeah, it's just Uno.
Yeah,
exactly. So there's nothing going on Sunday. All right. So, brother Sanchez, please give me get my hand on that tape. You know what I'm saying? Or your what you call that? What you call that? That presentation you dropped. What you call that?
I'm going to. I got the link in this thing here, but
right.
I'm gonna put it in that email that you sent me the Zoom link to.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna put my Facebook page link there. You can go on my walls when you get a chance, and you will see it's like a gold mine of information. I try not to put nothing on there, but just stuff like that, so people don't be. Yeah,
he got 500 on that Naphtali. Phoebe Quinal said he got 500 on Nephtali. I see you in there, man. I shouted it out.
The thing about me debating, man, like with the reason, and I know you got to get out of here. KP, the reason I say that, I don't literally interpret the Bible.
Right.
Think of a kid. Now, a kid believes Santa Claus put the gifts under the tree.
Right.
And I'm telling the kid, your mama and daddy did that. How do you debate them? You got to let them, they going to wake up one day and realize Santa didn't do that, you know?
Yeah. AD said that same thing earlier, man. Not about that situation, but that's crazy. Like you said, synchronicity. We're all like synchronized. Like everything we say, we just bouncing off each other. But it works like that. That's that Kundalini serpent.
It's also the beauty of the Bible is because those interpretations are supposed to exist. You're supposed to know the literal. You're supposed to be familiar with the literal so you can make your way into the esoteric. Like, it's supposed to be there.
I'm sitting here building with
So there is no right or wrong. These are just pathways.
Man.
Checkpoints.
You know what? And that's facts because the literal, and I know you got to go. The literal interpretation ain't wrong. It just represent where you at. Like, what's so genius about this stuff, the people that wrote it so no matter whatever mental paradigm you on, it can meet you there. So the literal interpretation is just the first one. But then you go beyond that. It takes a lot to go beyond that.
Yeah.
I'll admit it. So, yeah.
AD became a flat earther as soon as he heard it.
Took me a year, man.
No.
I follow.
Said it, he was like, "Oh yeah."
Santos Bonacci, man. I was following Santos for it. Took me a year.
Have you met Santos, brother Sanchez?
Santos the God, like the Santos is like the triple OG because I'm gonna show you how respected Santos is, right? I was doing what I'm doing and didn't even know what it was called until Santos said, "You're a syncretist." Like, this is syncretism.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how much of an OG. He pointed everyone that was connecting the dots to the ancient system that was doing that before we thought we was on to something that just was something we doing. You know?
Right.
But yes, salutes to Santos.
Fire.
You can't.
Now,
he the OG.
Sanchez, is that your real name?
That's my real middle name.
Oh, okay. It's Spanish because I was going to ask you that. Are you Spanish?
No, I'm FBA. I got a black mom, black dad. But see, what a lot of folks don't know, KP.
Right.
Black people in America have 60% Hispanic names.
Right.
Like Maria, Natasha, Adrian, Sanchez, Martez, DeMarco, Carlos.
Yeah.
Like black people in
even
America.
Jesus, Jose, right? Jose.
Right. Jesus.
Yep.
So we was conquered by the Spanish crown.
Right.
So we got a lot of Hispanic names. So people be like, Sanchez, is you black? I'm like, bro, is you black? Don't you know that black people were conquered by Spain? Right. Mr. Smart Man, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
we know about the Taínos and they're original.
You ain't black if you ain't got no Spanish name somewhere in your family.
That's right. That's peace, man. Yo. Straight up, man. Shout out to the FBA, man. Word.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to the FBA also.
FBA for life.
Right about now, man. Brother, this been so dope. I'm gonna leave out. Usually I let the brother leave first or whatever. But if I'm
gonna close out right now. KP, appreciate you and AD. I'm out of here.
Hey,
man.
Thank you, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, gods and earth and supreme pharaohs and what we call them, pharaohs and queens. All the great minds that's out there. What a show, man. Man, made me think a lot, man. I gotta hit this road though. AD, I know you wanted to go in. AD, I never saw you acting.
Hey, you know I love it. Every time he comes on, man, it's always a good show.
That was done. Man, I'm glad that no one did show up, though. On the real, sometimes I'm glad that no one actually came through because it was it was beautiful the way he put it, laid it out.
Presentations.
Yeah, presentation was
It's
dope,
good to have
man.
presentations happen.
And
you know what I mean?
yeah, that was smart. Maybe the person read the room. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you can always set up a different type of a discussion another time, a discussion panel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With that, man.
Yeah.
Yo,
great show.
I know. Should I play something for him?
Whatever you want to do. Whatever you got time for. Once again, we're moving song promotions to next Thursday.
Yeah.
We have no show this Sunday.
Can take you out with something, man. Damn, I wouldn't even. What, the wheel? We wouldn't know what to play, right? What you like? You like, what about the illest affiliate?
All right.
Take him out with that?
Show?
Let him have that.
Yeah.
I don't even know who did the. Oh, that's my man G Kelly, man. We not playing no games. So I gave y'all another treat. All right, y'all.
Next slide.
Exclusive.
Voice was like the noise of many waters. Across the formless void, emptied in his order. To build, destroy the born centuries and quarters. Beer from the source to entities, diaspora. The third rock, I preferred the spot that drop. Plant herbs and crops, natural watch. Keep herds of oxen, sheep and stock. From astronaut, I travel to Babel, to Pharaoh's plot. From tabernacles with dragon statues. Time flies like raptors, wings over pterodactyls. Black Moors, historic kings and lavish castles. Audience they clap for. Black queens to touch is taboo. The holy persona of Madonna put up on mantles. And ghostly conjure with honor to light the candles. Sounds raise they prana from a light piano. Sage from the Dalai Lama lay next to camels. A page from Daniel's in the lion's den. My wand wave at the animals and Leviathan. Find peace within, then the noise start quieting. Move like sea moss when it storms in Ireland. When you think you got me trapped, till you see the lions under my arms taking a nap. Leviathan, eyes closed, breathing slow. His head in my lap, breathing sparks, keeping the place warm and cozy. I'm in my rap tabernacle, holies of holies. Spitting raps that appear in shadows on the wall to the homies. I'm calm beneath a storm rolling in from the north. Wrapped in lightning, a craft of Vikings. The raps I'm writing is math and science. Immovable tyrants clash with titans. A war that was started before the garden. Long before I was an artist. You can read my comments on the comet. Then braid his tail with laser gel. Then drag Gabriel through 7 states of hell. With my mind state as well. My arms bionic. My flows calm but haunted. Black wings. On the limestone, a bird-headed, feathered being holding a pine cone, holding another object look like a pocketbook. There's many mysterious images on the rocks they put. Most of us are not familiar with the records of Gilgamesh, or the architects that erected the pyramids, or the star cadets that was mentioned mysterious. On your mark and set, this all starts before Genesis. Primitive, primordial time portals. Traditions went from the mind to oral, to designer lines that's horror. Horizontal, from our tonsils to fonts used from tools. Now we build restaurants and schools. My jewels to the ignorance of the horrors that haunt you. My steps of breath are borrowed from Kung Fu. The readers are Tacitus to Caesars. There was a Jesus in Nazareth. Roman teachers in the Greece is Pythagoras. Walked on water and hundreds was fed with 5 loaves of bread. Turned water to wine and keg. Raised the dead Lazarus. They said the things he said was blasphemous. Joseph was hurt because his birth was immaculate. Adulterous, scary, occultist, Holy Mary, miraculous. They both married the Catholics, then buried by savages. 6 carried their casket in carriages. The wheel of their wagon flip. On the hill of Damascus sits a man with holes in his feet, in his hands. His head crowned with thorns, with 7 sounds of horns. Spread from the cloud he got on. His eyes was red like the dial on fans. His noble Drew Ali. Psalms 23 in my hand as I mobile through the valley. I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me on the podcraft. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anoint touches my head with oil. The oil is energy, spinal fluid. To the cerebral that the mind is influenced. A diamond needle or the eye of improvement. I'm divine with this music. I divide it into 2 clips so you don't get confused with a blueprint. The first is Abraxas rebus pleroma. It's a magnum thesis. Then I take over. It's just fraction pieces. The ginger is Jehovah. Devil's nail when I build on the God sense of the garden. 6 neutrons, 6 hydrogen, 6 carbon. Mercury wheel, torsion fields of Darwin. Abraxas, check the books of Carl Jung. I don't just come in the film, I come in the volume. They said I come from the realms, now I come in the album. They sung it in hymns from the temples on mountains. This is balance. I'm in and out. I come from the ancient city of Ube, rocking 2 braids, looking for the man with 2 pay. You gonna get slayed 2 days. Touche.